All right, you ready to get this started, Nate?
Yeah, let's kick it off.
All right. Well, good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to Western Washington University's Admitted Student Day. We are certainly happy that you're here, and we can't wait to welcome you to Western this fall. My name is Chris Roselli. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Director of Community Relations here at Western. I'm also a proud Western alum from way back in the class of 1999. I earned my degree in communication studies as a first-generation student. Nate, tell them a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chris. My name is Nate Gaines, and I'm actually a recent grad, so a little bit younger than Chris here. Graduated this past fall, part of the historic class of 2020. I use he, him, his pronouns, and my major was human services with a minor in education and social justice through our Woodring College of Education, which you guys will have the opportunity to explore later on throughout today. Absolutely loved my program. It was a great experience here at Western. I took about 4.5 years there to finish my major and minor, and it was some of the best 4.5 years of my entire life, which is super awesome. I'm also a fourth generation Western student. So my dad went to Western, my dad's dad, my grandpa went to Western back in 1967 is when he graduated. And then my grandpa's mom, my great grandma Ruby, also went to Western way back in the early 1930s, which is super awesome. So a great legacy here. This was the only school that I wanted to go to, and I'm still here today, which is super awesome as an admissions counselor. So super great you guys are here. Some of the things I was involved with on campus when I was a student, I was an student admissions representative. So I got to do tour guides, basically walked all over campus almost every day, giving tours around campus, interacting with various families such as you guys from all over the country, which was super awesome. I also worked for the Alumni Association, so I got to do really cool campus events. One of the coolest event I got to do was go to the governor's mansion and talk with the deans and legislators, which was super cool. I was a part of a fundraiser here for Western, and then also was the senator representing Woodring College of Education. So there's lots of different opportunities for students to get involved on campus, in a job capacity, in clubs, which you'll learn about later on today. We have 300 plus clubs for students. So I loved my experience. It's absolutely great. And I'm going to plug this as well. We have an incredible community here at Western, which you will definitely see throughout the next couple of hours. I mean, whether it's, being a part of a club, whether it's being an on-campus job, or whether it's just having an interaction with a staff member or a student, Western is all about community, and you'll learn a lot about that today. So I'm going to pass it on to Chris here. So happy you all could join us here. And yeah, so happy we'll be able to kick this off today.
Well, Nate, I appreciate you saying that you're just a little younger than me. That is a total lie. You are much younger than me. First of all, I would like to begin by acknowledging that we gather today on the ancestral homelands of the Coast Salish peoples who've lived in the Salish Sea Basin throughout the San Juan Islands and the North Cascades watershed from time immemorial. Please join me in expressing our deepest respect and gratitude for our Indigenous neighbors, the Lummi Nation, and the Nooksack tribe for their enduring care and protection of our shared lands and waterways. And wherever you stand today, I encourage you to think about your Indigenous neighbors who've cared for the lands and waterways that you currently benefit from. So I know that this is not all of your first Zoom rodeo, as we mentioned a little bit before. I am from the Couve, which any Vancouver, Washington resident would know that's what I'm referring to. I grew up in Vancouver, Washington. Why don't you toss into the chat a little bit where you're from yourself? Let everybody know. We've got folks coming from all over the place today who are Zooming in, so we're glad you're here.
Let's see. That's awesome.
Holy smoke!
Look at that. Chris is from Vancouver, and I'm a local kid. So I'm from Bellingham, Washington. I went to Squalicum High School.
Right on. And I am seeing from San Rafael to Alaska. We got Puyallup. We've got North Dakota. We got all over the place. This is awesome to see. Welcome, welcome. So that's a great segue, actually, to talk a little bit about you, our 2021 admitted class. Now, first of all, on behalf of our president, Sabal Randawa, our 135,000 alumni, our faculty, staff, our students, I want to congratulate you on being admitted into Western. Students, give yourself a pat on the back. Really, right now, I'm not going to go forward until you give yourself a pat on the back. Good, good. Nope, you have not patted yourself on the back. Okay, good. Yes. All right, here we go. Now, parents, if you're standing by, which I know parents are standing by, why don't you give your student a hug or a high five right now? And the reason why is because Western is one of the most sought after, academically recognized institutions in the state. And unfortunately, not everyone earns the opportunity to attend. And it goes without saying that you are an exceptional group of individuals. Our admissions team this year was absolutely blown away, not just by your transcripts, but by your essays, by who you are. It isn't higher education unless it is serving a higher purpose. That's what we like to say. And at Western, we want outstanding humans who are open, kind, accepting, thoughtful, mindful, and academically focused and smart. We want students who encompass our values of being committed to critical thought, creativity, and sustainability. We want students who are committed to equity and justice and who show respect for the rights and dignity of others. We want students to stand tall for what is right while broadening your own horizons and then taking all that you've learned to your careers and your communities that you serve as alumni someday. You, as a class, are a premier group of students, and that is on top of all of the things that you've had to do with COVID this year in terms of a massive curveball that has been thrown at you. And that's why here at Western, we say make waves. It's not just a slogan, it's a task, it's a challenge, it's an expectation that you are without a doubt a standout group of individuals, and we are excited that you are considering Western as your destination to earn your higher education degree. So a little bit about your class. This year, Western received over 12,000 applications for about 4,000 spaces, for 3,000 first-year students and about 1,000 transfer students. Now, students applied from all 50 states and 27 countries, including just 30 minutes away in the great country of Canada. Of course, we count Canada as a country. We also had students from Australia, Brazil, China, the Dominican Republic, Saudi Arabia, Russia, Pakistan, Northern Mariana Islands, Nigeria, Tunisia, Thailand, and the list goes on. So, for our confirmed students, students who are already planning on coming to Western, we have students representing 41 states and 18 countries. And while we are mission driven to serve the people of Washington State, we all know that we live and work in an increasingly global society, and we are glad that our incoming class reflects that. Now, the top 5 most popular academic interests, in case you're wondering, they're psychology, computer science, biology, environmental science, and business administration. Now, if you're undecided, that is absolutely okay. In fact, that is great. And the reason why that is great is because we have 175 academic programs and 1,600 courses that will help you hone your interests to find a degree that fits you the best so you can find a fulfilling career. Now, we know all of you so well that we also know one other unique thing. We know the most common birth date of all of those who applied to Western. The most common birth date, May 16th, 2003. Might be a couple of you in there. Throw it in the chat if that is you. Anybody want to guess the number 1 song on May 16th, 2013? It is "Get Busy" by Sean Paul. Sorry, that's not Thrift Shop. Wouldn't that have been nice? No, "Get Busy" by Sean Paul. Now, the number 1 song in 2003, when most of you were born, "Into Club" by 50 Cent. Go shorty. It's your birthday. Okay, I'm gonna stop. My daughter just said, "Dad, stop." So, all right. So I will stop. Now, in 1975, when I was born, it was "Love Will Keep Us Together" by Captain and Tennille. I don't expect any of you to know that. Parents, if you're standing around, feel free to sing that. And then 1997, Mr. Gaines, that is your birth year. You know the number 1 song when you were born?
What is that?
"There's something about the way you look tonight." Anybody know the next line? "Takes my breath away."
I think that's just you, Rosalie.
That's right, Elton
John.
John.
Oh, wow, we got a couple folks. Great. Yes, Chris. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'll get us all back on track here. Just you would have known. So 25% of you listed relative who has graduated or is attending Western, which is pretty awesome to see. 27% of you are first-generation students. 17% of you are veterans of our armed services. A heartfelt thank you for your service to our country and all you have done. Now, of course, many of you have paid your deposit to confirm your intent to Western. That is awesome. I'm excited. Now, some of you haven't, and that is totally okay. That is what today is all about. Today might help reaffirm what many of you already know, that we are the greatest university on earth in a killer location full of really great people. But for those of you who haven't confirmed yet and you're still trying to figure out which school you want to attend, today is an opportunity for us to put our best virtual foot forward for you so you can see if we're a good fit for you. Western is a great community in a great location with professors and staff who care about our students, on a beautiful campus and in a community that is big enough to get what you need, but not so big that it's overwhelming. Now, if you do pick Western, it's up to you to make the most of your experience both on campus and in our beautiful community. I encourage you to get involved, to study hard, to explore Bellingham and Whatcom County, stand up for social justice and make a difference. In other words, it's up to you to make waves. Nate, I'm excited to co-host this event with all of you today. So why don't you fill everyone in a little bit about how today is going to work and about that really great website we've got.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me for 2 seconds here. I am sharing right now. Is everyone able to see the screen right now?
Yes.
Perfect. So what we're looking at right now is our Admitted Student Day 2021's main page. And this is also on the main Western's website. So for example, if you for some reason can't get back to this page, feel free to just type in www.edu and this will pop right up as well on the main site. So this is kind of your program and your guide for the entire day. So I'm going to start here at the very top. This is our main event. So as you can see here, I'm going to scroll down here. You can see this gorgeous painting here that one of our staff, I believe it's a faculty or staff that did this design, which is super awesome. We have the sailboats going in the Bellingham Bay. Western is up here on the hill, and then downtown Bellingham over here on the left. Absolutely gorgeous. And as we go down, we are live on YouTube right now. So if you would like to just stay on this page or for some reason can't get back to this website, feel free to go to YouTube and you'll be able to watch us live or even go back afterward as well and then watch this, all of this live, which is super awesome. And then over to the right is kind of a guide that just kind of breaks down what's going on today. So right now you're in the welcome session with Chris and I. So we'll be talking at you for a little bit longer. And then after that, we will send you off to a Q&A panel. And then you'll kind of look at us again and hear us talking again. And then we'll send you off at 1:15 for a student panel. There's also a housing tour as well. And if you click on this, oops, I think I already clicked on that. Look at that. Anyway, but if you click on it, it'll go directly to the Zoom link where you can just go ahead and go right into these sessions. And a lot of these sessions are actual students talking at you, and you can ask them questions. You can interact with these people as well. A lot of these people are also working for the admissions office too. So they're all experts about Western. So feel free to ask them absolutely anything. And as you go down here, there's a few other sessions happening all throughout today. I'm going to scroll back up here one more time to kind of get at what's going on here on the left. There is an after party as well, or our version of an after party, which is super cool. So you can play some Quiplash and some other cool games with staff members and students as well. So just kind of develop that community and just have some fun as well. I mean, this is a fun day. This is a day that we can celebrate that you guys were admitted into Western, and you know, college is fun. It's all about having fun and really exploring all the cool options that we offer. My favorite thing about the website is the photo booth here. So feel free to upload some pictures. We highly recommend that you do that. So we'll post that here. We want to know, you know, what you're doing, where you at today, which is super awesome. We want to see everyone's beautiful faces. And then also a big link as well. If you're tired of hearing us talk, or you're just like, I want to go ahead and just confirm to Western, this link right here, feel free to confirm right here. May 1st is the deadline, but if you want to confirm today, this link will take you directly to our confirmation page. And then also another key thing, if you have any questions at all throughout today, feel free to text this number. It's 360-966-8155. And then we'll be able to answer any questions you might have. If you get lost, I mean, this is a big web page with a lot of stuff going on virtually. Feel free to text that number. And we'll be able to chat with you, or at least make sure that you're on the right track and going where you need to go as well. So some other additional things here as well. You can chat with the university residencies if you have questions about housing. That's always a big thing, where you're going to live when you go on campus. So feel free to go in there and chat with them. You can also chat with students as well on what it's like being a Western student. I know for myself, when I was coming to Western, it was cool just to talk to a student about what it's like from a one-on-one perspective, which is super awesome. And I'm going to scroll back up to the top here. Apologize, it's going so fast. And I want to click on academics as well. So if you're interested in our 175 plus majors, this would be the page to go on. So we have all 7 colleges will have a chat available. So if you're interested in the College of Business and Economics, feel free to click on this, and then you'll be able to talk to someone or representative from that college. Woodring College of Education, and so on, College of Science and Engineering, basically every major department college that makes up Western is located in these little chats here. So we try to make it very accessible for you. All you have to do is click on it, and then you'll be able to chat with folks. And so some additional resources as well down here. There's also a cool video that goes along with every college that we offer here. So if you're interested in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, for example, you click on this video here, and we have cool little videos that kind of just talks about the college. You can kind of get a look of what it looks like to be in that classroom. And as well, you get to see the campus life as well. So if you don't want to chat directly, feel free to just click on one of those videos, and it's very informative, and you'll be able to just kind of learn about that specific college a little bit as well. So we're going to go back up to the top. One last thing I want to point out as well. If you're wanting to know about the various clubs, as I mentioned, we have 300 plus clubs here at Western. Feel free to click on the Find Your Community, and this is where you get to explore. I call the fun side of being a college student. So that's the student government and the clubs that we offer. That's the rec center. You can explore what it looks like to go into the rec center and work out and go swimming and playing basketball with your friends. You can also explore what it's like to go to Lakewood, which is one of our waterfront facilities that on Lake Watkin, which is super awesome. You can rent kayaks and sailboats and all kinds of great things. So feel free to check out these. We also have an Outback Farm as well if you're interested in that. The Multicultural Center as well, over 19 ESC clubs, which is super awesome. If you want to explore or interested in joining our Multicultural Center, feel free to click on that. So this is our cool page where you can just explore of what it's like to be a Western student, the student life, which is super awesome. And that's a big part about being a student. It's being involved on campus and all kinds of great things. So, and then also these are also direct links to our Quiplash and our after party stuff and just all the cool fun things that we have available for people. And then also I want to point out this as well. These are some of our amazing tour guides, which you might see later on today. And if you want to hear from them, you can also click on one of their icons and just, hear what it's like for Austin being a biology student or Grant being a computer science student and stuff like that. So like I said, hearing it from a student is always super special and a great experience. So this is our main page. As I mentioned, it's on the Western website. And then we also have a live feed that'll be going on all day if you get confused or anything at all, basically. And then feel free to text that number, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So from that said, I will stop sharing here. And Chris, I believe that is just about all we have. Should we send them off?
Well done, sir. Yeah, let's do it.
All righty. So right now we're going to send you off to your various sessions. You'll see us in a couple of minutes, but welcome everyone. We're super excited that you're here, and go Vikings. Let's do this.
And there are 2 session options. If you want to do a general Q&A, you can see Robert Stolberg right here on the screen. Give a wave, Robert. Robert, if you want to just get general questions answered, Robert and his crew will be happy to be here and answer questions for you. And then there's another session as well that that you are also able to go to as well, which is about housing questions. And that one you can find. I bet somebody's going to send a link into the chat of how to get to the housing question Zoom. Is it in there? We see it? You see it? It's popping up. There, did we get it? For the next Q&A, you're going to stay right here with Robert. Robert, we'll pass it on to you. All of you, it is so good to see you. And we'll see you right after the end of this session. So thanks again, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much, Nate. That was a fantastic introduction and a very hard act to follow, but we are sure going to do our best. If you are looking for the general question and answer session where you can ask your tough questions to experts from all over campus, you are in the right place. A little quick introduction for who I am and what we're going to be doing here. My name is Robert Stolzberg. I am an admissions counselor at Western. If you are from Alaska, Oregon, or Southwest Washington, there's a pretty good chance that you have seen or heard from me at some point this year. We may also be joined by my cat, Nora, who is making some noises like she wants attention. So if you see a big fluffy tail on camera, that is Nora. We'll see if we can get her on. But yeah, to start out, we are going to introduce our special guests from all over campus. We're really excited that you all are joining us. We're really excited for all of these students and families who are here joining us today. And I'm going to have our panelists introduce themselves in the order that I have their names written down. So Julia, go ahead, kick us off.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Ide. I'm an admissions counselor at Western as well. I work with all of our students from Central and Eastern Washington, and I'm based in Spokane. So shout out to those Spokane folks. I saw you in the chat.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Julia. Next, we're going to hear from Cesar.
Hello, everyone. Muy buenas tardes todos. Cesar Mezquita, Director of Admissions. I'm sure you're tired of seeing my name and letters and emails come through over the last several months, but it's a true joy to be hosting you here this afternoon. And I use he, him, his pronouns. Look forward to answering some great questions.
Great. Thank you so much. And next, we're going to hear from Megan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Megan Bryson. I work in the Academic Advising Center. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a Western alum, did both my undergrad and graduate school at Western, and I'm super happy to be here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Megan. Next, we're going to hear from Jen.
Hi, everyone. Jen Cook, she, her, hers. I work in the Associated Students and the Viking Union as a club activities manager. So I'm excited to talk all about clubs and getting involved on campus.
Thanks, Jen, and thank you for being here. Last but not least, Rana.
Hi, I'm hoping somebody can kick my camera on for me at some point. And I'd like to say hello. My name is Rana Biggs. I'm the Program Director for the New Student Services and Family Outreach Office, and I use she, her pronouns. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And we'll see what we can do about getting you on camera here. There you are. Perfect, great timing. So in addition to the folks who are joining us on camera today, there's also some folks who are joining us behind the scenes. In the chat, we are going to answer absolutely as many of your questions as we possibly can. The chat is very active. I love it. I'm older than Nate, but I'm younger than Chris, so I get some of the references, but not all of them. So please keep an eye on the chat for resources that we're going to share and questions that we're going to answer in the chat as well. And I will be passing questions on to our panelists on camera and on mic here. So we're going to start with Cesar, a couple of COVID questions. What percentage of classes next fall are going to be in person in the classroom with professors?
Yeah, thank you. Very much an anticipated question. And I'm going to very quickly turn it over here to some of the colleagues who work in other areas, particularly Megan Bryson in academic advising and some of the things that she may want to add to this question. So one that first you'll point out that the university administration, staff, faculty are absolutely very passionate and working towards resuming normalcy, whatever that normalcy will look like in 2021, 22, but it's to bring us back to some normalcy. knowing that it's going to be a transition. It's not going to be, flipping a switch and things are going to resume that normal operations, whether in the classroom, in the residence halls, in clubs and activities, and in events on campus, or even in our workspaces, right? So currently the plan is that around 2/3 of the classes will be in person, meaning the other 1/3 will be done in a virtual or hybrid modality. So that is the current plan. Now, when I say current plan, knowing full well that things can absolutely change, additional information coming in from state level, from CDC, so that we can incorporate those into our best practices of engaging in classroom management, right? Because when we think about the classroom modality and the experience, it's not just about the technology that we engage with over here. It's very much about the interactions of people, oftentimes large groups of people in a physical space. So currently that plan is indeed moving forward, where the faculty are planning around 2/3 of classes being in person and 1/3 of classes being in that online, remote, or hybrid modality. So Megan, I trust you might have a couple of thoughts to share with the group here as well. Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great overview, Cesar. Just to give a little bit more information, our continuing students will start to register for fall quarter classes in the end of May. And by then, we're hopeful that we'll know more about modalities of how classes will be delivered. And then you all as new students will be receiving, once you confirm, you'll receive more information from our partners in New Student Services, Family Outreach. Ron is here, and I'm sure we'll share more information about that. But when you'll register during the summer, that will be a virtual experience for your fall orientation, advising, and registration program. And you'll have an opportunity to meet virtually in Zoom, one-on-one, well, both group and one-on-one with an advisor to get registered for classes. And Western uses a tool called Class Finder, which is accessible in through the My Western page that includes all information for all the classes that are offered, including how they're going to be delivered, whether that's if they're going to have a face-to-face component, if they'll be blended, if it's going to be an all remote setup. So by the time you're registering for classes, you'll have a good sense of what you're registering for.
Great, awesome. Thank you, Megan. And we'll keep this one on Megan, and Cesar, feel free to add if you have any insight as well. Looking ahead to how courses are going to be held this fall, knowing that we are going to have the capacity to be a lot more in person than we've been this past school year, and certainly more in person than many of the students who are joining us here have been. What are things going to look like for students who are higher risk and may want to keep online learning or distance learning an option? Is that still going to be available coming up this fall?
Megan, I'll defer to you first, and then
Yeah, I actually am going to defer to the recent announcements that have come out from our president, Sabal Rendawa, which have outlined information. I think as much as possible, we want students to feel comfortable. So we've got lots of active folks in the chat. I think that would be the best resource if we could offer that, the post from President Rendawa around course delivery. That would be great.
All right, great. And one more follow-up question, Megan. We'll keep throwing these hard ones at you.
Okay.
The sorts of larger classes that a lot of our first-year students, the larger lecture hall 100 level classes that first-year students typically take, are those planning to be in person?
Ooh, that's a great question. I actually don't have that information. That's not something that that could be a known thing, and I just don't have that information. So sorry, I can't answer that one. Cesar, I don't know if you have any insights in that one.
No, not yet. But I suppose, Megan, what you just shared a second ago, as the class rosters become available here later on in the spring, and then students, when they register for make their reservations for the summertime orientation, advising, and registration programs, we're going to have a very, very good sense as to what what blend of classes will look like in which modality, right? Larger lecture halls versus smaller recitation classes versus lab versus in-person activities such as theater, dance, PE, and the like. So we anticipate that to become absolutely much clearer here over the next couple of months. So everybody watching with great anticipation, no doubt.
Great. Thank you both for your insights on those tough COVID questions. Quick piece of housekeeping. Housing info is going to be at the 2 o'clock and 2:30 sessions. It's not going on right now, so everyone is in the right place. If you're here joining us now, housing will be happening a little bit later this afternoon. Next question is for Rana. How and where do I register for my classes?
Oh, that's a great question. And Megan and I can do a little bit of tag teaming with that too. So all new students, for first year and running start students, you'll have an opportunity to sign up for one of our orientation, advising, and registration programs that's happening all throughout the summer. And for first year students, you'll get this great opportunity. On June 7th, we're going to open up our new Student Services Family Outreach website. And new students can go to that website, and there'll be 3 different components that you're really looking at to get set up to register for your classes. And one of those first primary things is you'll sign up for a very specific date that will be for academic advising and course registration. So there's a number of dates that'll happen primarily throughout August, and students can sign up for those. And Megan can talk a little bit more in detail about the academic advising process, but we've got plenty of sessions and how the days are structured. And so students are going to get a great opportunity to connect with other current students and other new students. There's faculty and staff and student academic advisors, and a wonderful experience to have this academic advising in a smaller group setting. And then there's also an individualized appointment for course registration. So by the time that new students get done with that advising and registration session, you'll be set to go for fall. And Megan, I don't know if there's some other additional details you want to toss into the process.
Yeah, thanks, Rana. And just watching the chat too here. So the fall advising and registration dates are designated for specific student populations, which is all mapped out on the new Student Services website. So the first group will be transfer students and post-bac students. The next group is our high credit first year students. So students who have anticipated or indicated to admissions coming in with 45 or more transfer credits. And then all remaining sessions are for students with under 45 incoming credits as those first year students. So the other piece that I would add to that is when you do make a reservation, you'll be able to make a reservation for an advising group based off of your academic interest. So we have things like fine and performing arts, we have math, science, engineering, we have humanities, we have social sciences, we have undecided. We heard earlier from Chris how it's still great to be undecided. So we have a group that's targeted for undecided students to help. There's other advisors in there who are trained to help advise students and explore majors. So know that you'll have that opportunity. We then work with advisors across campus to provide those areas of expertise in those advising groups for you.
And I'll toss in, because I'm kind of watching the chat a little bit. There are, Megan did make a mention of it, but in case you didn't catch it, there are some very specific dates for transfer students, and post-baccalaureate students are also invited to the fall advising and registration sessions. And then there are distinct dates for first year and running start students. And I think that's an important thing to note. Sometimes for folks who have participated in Running Start, that's a question that they have. And Western will look at Running Start students in conjunction as a first year umbrella. So if you have been doing Running Start, you'll be in that first year student pocket. And then there are some dates for transfer students as well.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for that very helpful and thorough information. I've recently been made aware that there's some questions in the chat about my hair routine, and I'm certainly far from an authority on this, but as someone who's had curly hair for a long time, what I found works for me is a little bit of curl control, scrunch it in. Two biggest things, though, not shampooing every day. That makes my hair real big and frizzy. And also, instead of drying with like a regular bath towel, drying with an old cotton t-shirt. There's certainly a lot of people out there who know a lot more about hair than I do, but that's what works for me. Next, Western related question. This is going to go to Julia. Julia, how can students meet with their admissions advisor?
Yeah, we'd love to meet with you. One of the easiest ways, if you want to meet with your advisor, admissions counselor for your specific region, is send us a quick email. If you want to meet with just one of our counselors, don't really care who you're meeting with, you can also sign up online. That link will probably get posted in the chat where you can make an appointment with an admissions counselor. So you can pick a time that works with your schedule, but you can always just send us a quick email. You can text us in the inbox or give us a call as well, and we can get something set up.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Julia. And we're going to get this next question back to you as a follow-up. If I've just been admitted, what do I do next?
All right. Yeah. Congratulations. One, I think just celebrate, if you have some biodegradable confetti, maybe throw that around, enjoy the moment, and then look at your next steps. So the big thing coming up, May 1st, confirming your enrollment. So that's going to be the one date you're really going to want to keep an eye on. And you can also, in that meantime, we have about a week and a half. So learn a bit more about us, get to know us better, ask those questions that you might have, meet with your admissions counselor. And then later on, you'll want to make sure you have access to your Western Universal account. After you're admitted, usually about a week after, you should get an email that has the subject line W Universal Account Notification. You're going to really want to make sure you have access to that account, because once you confirm your enrollment, that's where you'll be able to access your Western email, which the best advice I can give you, get in the habit of checking that email. That's where we'll start sending official communications. So get to know us better, keep an eye on that May 1st deadline, and let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Julia. Yeah, big shout out for checking your email. Great habit to get into to prepare for college, and a good thing to start doing now. Our next question is for Jen. Jen, could you tell us a little bit about what clubs and activities will look like this fall? Are they going to be happening?
Oh yes, clubs have been continuing this past year. Not as many clubs as we usually see, of course, but we even have had some new clubs start over this past year, about at least a handful or so, starting over, especially among us. We have a big Endormcraft that is a new, so big online gaming has started, but clubs are gearing up, getting ready for next year. We just met this past week to kind of go through that and get ready. And they are really excited to continue club activities, to get back on campus and do their thing. It will look a little bit different, of course. We'll have to maintain social distancing, masks, all that good stuff that we are used to, but we should be able to resume a bit on campus. Right during Welcome Week, at the start of Welcome Week, so the Monday and Tuesday before you start classes, we will have our Fall Info Fair event. We're not quite sure what that's going to look like. Normally it's held in Red Square behind me here, but we might do some kind of hybrid model where you get to see some clubs and departments on campus, and then as well as a virtual component to that, so you get to meet the clubs. We are also encouraging them to create little commercial videos, so you can check them out and get to know them a little bit more before the school year starts. So keep a lookout for that. And if you are really excited about checking out clubs now, you can peruse our site, which we call Western Involvement Network. That is just win.wwu.edu. And you can scroll through that without having to sign in and check out all the clubs that are currently active. And once you are able to log in using your Western account after registering, you can connect with those clubs, join them, ask questions, do all that fun stuff, getting to know the clubs. And that'll keep ramping up as we get through the school year, so we know what clubs are active. You'll also see student support services offices on there, such as Prevention, Wellness, and Services, our LGBTQ+ director, all that fun stuff to get to know campus a little bit more. And if you are excited about starting the club, maybe you don't see a club already listed on there, you can reach out and we'll get you started on making a new club for yourself. You just need 5 students to start a club on campus.
Great, thank you, Jen. And we're certainly all looking forward to seeing clubs starting back up and coming back to our campus. That's something very exciting that we're all looking forward to this fall. Next question is for Megan. Megan, how can an incoming student find out how their college credits will transfer, whether it's from Running Start, online college, some other dual enrollment? How do students see that? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. And our colleagues in the Office of Admissions do the important work of evaluating all of that transfer credit. So one important thing, which is on those checklists from admissions, is sending those final transcripts in. It's super important. You need to make sure you're requesting those transcripts from where you received it. So as an example, I did Running Start, so I had to go to the community college that I attended My high school did not send that for me. So really important that you go to where you're receiving that credit, whether it's AP, IB, college in the high school, running start credit, send all of that to Western. And then when you meet with your advisor during your advising and registration experience, we have access to your transfer equivalency report. So we're going to be able to see the courses that you've taken and how those are transferring to Western, what general university requirements they might fulfill, and so on. If you're curious right now, Western's Office of Admissions does have a transfer course equivalency guide. I actually noticed one of our new students posted it in the chat earlier, which is awesome. So good job using that. Yeah, transfer course equivalency guide on the admissions website gives some, helps you understand if you're coming from a Washington State school, how those transfer. There's also an AP and IB charts on the admissions website. So if you know the scores that you received, you'll be able to find out how those will eventually transfer to Western. Cesar, anything else there that you want to add?
It's really just to underscore the note that you said, that reach out to those institutions, organizations, in this case, colleges, universities, where you got those transfer credits, but also the College Board, right? If you took the AP exams and you received a 3 or higher, high likelihood that you will receive some college credit. And Megan just noted that we have some webpage, so just Google WAP credit, IB credit. Make sure you reach out to the International Baccalaureate Organization or the College Board in this case, if you took the AP exam, to have those scores sent to your school of choice. Fully recognize there are going to be many students here today who are going to be making choices to go other institutions, but that step is still the same. So contact those community colleges, four-year universities, if you have those credits, as well as the College Board. Make sure that those official exam scores or credits are sent to Western, and our Office of Admission, as Megan noted, will take care of the dirty work.
Great, thank you. And next question is also for Megan. Megan, are there majors at Western that are hard to get into or capacity limited?
Answer is yes. Well, what I will say first is that every major is a little bit different in terms of what it takes to declare. I've got Nicole in the chat here for me. I'm sure she's going to post a link to the programs of study in the university catalog. So I would say start there first. As you're thinking about majors, they give some great details around an overview of the major, what the course requirements are, contact information for academic department advisors, as well as the steps to declare that major. They really vary in terms of what it takes to declare. Some you fill out an online form and that's it. Others require an audition, a portfolio, prerequisite coursework, certain GPA requirements. So really important you check into that. And then I would say some of the popular ones right now, STEM is very popular right now, of course. So anything in that science, technology, engineering area, those are popular. Computer science is quite popular. I saw a lot of folks type that in the chat earlier during the welcome. Psychology is another really popular one, biology. They admit students every year, but just those are some that come to mind offhand. Never too early to start preparing for a major, I will say that. And if you're just undecided, there are lots of resources at Western to help you explore and find the right major for you.
Absolutely great. Thank you, Megan. Next question is for Rana. Rana, is Fall Family Weekend happening this year? And will there be any other opportunities for families to come visit?
That's a great question. And our office annually, we do host Fall Family Weekend. And this year we have it scheduled for October 15th through the 17th. So it's about that third weekend in October. And we're currently looking at some kind of hybrid process for Fall Family Weekend. It's a bit early for us to know exactly what the status of the world is going to be by mid-October, but we're very hopeful. And so what we did find last year is that there were some opportunities that we did with some virtual programming that actually was really helpful for parents and family members who were not able to physically come to campus and yet wanted to still have some kind of connection event to campus, to Western, to do something with their student. And so we want to take that as an opportunity and to carry that over. And we're also looking at, and what might we be able to be permitted to do, allowed to do, what might be needed by that time in October. So our office is really recognizing there's some opportunities that we just haven't been able to have in the last year or so. Things like campus tours and being able to walk around campus, or to have some of those outdoor event gatherings and really get a feel for what our sense of place is around Bellingham and on campus in particular. So as we look to some of those in-person things, we do want to be able to offer some connection points in that way too. And of course, we'll be under whatever guidance is given from the state or the institution at that time. But we're looking ahead, and we're really trying to continue to anchor that weekend and make it fun.
Sounds like a good time. Thank you for sharing those updates. Next question is for Cesar. Cesar, how can students accept their financial aid award? And kind of two-part question, are there any payment plans for tuition?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I'm going to be hosting at 2 o'clock a financial aid session, a half-hour session happening twice, 2 and 2:30, on understanding your aid letter. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the nuances of financial aid. Having done this for 20 years and having last year my son go through the college search experience, and now he's a freshman at another institution, and my oldest daughter as a high school senior this year. So I'm living this in the flesh and processing all of this. So accepting your aid award is, let me start with the latter question. Yes, there is a payment plan, and effectively you can take your net costs, so whatever the balance may be once you take cost minus your aid award, whatever's left over, you can set up a payment plan through our student business office, and I believe it is 9 monthly payments. So the academic year is 9 months, more or less. So you do have an opportunity to set that up. To actually formally accept, you actually do need to go log in with your student credentials in Web4U through the tab that features your financial aid information. And you do have the opportunity then to select a drop-down menu, select offered, and then accepted. So do make sure that you take care of that step. Most students who did apply for financial aid will have also the option of accept or decline their loan offers. More often than not, you see families accept things that do not need to be paid back, like scholarships and grants, and then have a deeper conversation about loans and whether they want to accept, and then consider the amount later on. But again, I'm going to go into some more details of that later on during the 2 and 2:30 financial aid sessions. But indeed, log in, Web4U, student credentials, go, financial aid tab, click accept, and that triggers some other things on the back end.
Great, thank you, Cesar. Next question is for Rana on the topic of student activities and things that are we're hoping to be happening in a little bit more of an in-person way this year. Will WOOT trips be happening? And maybe as a preface to that, what is WOOT?
What is WOOT? Western Outdoor Orientation Trips, and those are hosted through the Outdoor Center and the WOOT crew over in that area. Jen may actually know more than I do. I'm actually not sure what's happening for WOOT this year. I have not heard if they have plans to do some in-person trips or not. Jen, I don't know if you know the answer to that question over in the VU, or maybe we could look that up real quick.
Well, while we're digging into the WOOT question, we'll come back to that when we get more on the nose information. But for now, Julia, could you tell us about visiting campus? Will there be in-person campus tours? Can folks come in a self-guided way and visit campus on their own? What's available in that realm right now?
So right now we aren't offering any in-person tours. We certainly wish we could be welcoming you in person right now, but that's just not the reality. But you can still see campus, whether that's through a virtual format or coming to campus and using our self-guided tour. You can download the self-guided tour on our website, and it will give you a bit of information on where different programs are located, what building is, where the buildings are on campus. You can even download a tour for the sculpture garden that's out throughout campus as well if you're interested in art. We do ask if you come to campus that you do follow masking and social distancing guidelines so we can keep everyone safe and healthy. And do keep in mind as well that all buildings, including restrooms, won't be accessible. So Plan your trip around that. Know that there won't be a restroom open on campus. And the downtown area is also a 15-minute walk away from campus, really easily accessible by car as well. So if you do come to Bellingham, I recommend going down there and exploring the community. There's some really great places to get a bite to eat if you want to kind of make a day of it, have lunch in town. So I really encourage you to explore the downtown area as well.
Let me just add here, Robert, if I may. Thank you, Julie, by the way. That was spot on. And let me just add that the university has gone and increased its level of operation from phase level 2 to level 3, which does allow for some limited outdoor activities primarily. So we in the Office of Admission, this is very recent, by the way, we in the Office of Admission have put together a proposal to start extending the opportunity for some tours here in early to mid-May. So if you are a student or family who absolutely does feel like it's important, and I would imagine many of you do feel it's important to have an opportunity for that in-campus visit experience, and it's something self-guided is not what you want to do. You want to have something more structured or tailored. Do go to the Office of Admission website and sign up for when we will make those options available here starting in May. We recognize that that happens often after May 1, but even for students who have confirmed haven't yet had an opportunity to set foot on campus, we know it's incredibly important to get that sense of community and belonging. So do indeed take the moment, check out the admissions website, sign up to be notified when the opportunity to sign up for campus tours will be rolling out here next month, knowing full well that it will not be all tour guides all the time, every single hour of the day. It will be, of course, watching those guidances as it relates to number of people, number of households, mask and physical distancing, of course, are going to be in place. So do look out for more information. If you want to sign up on our website, check it out.
Great, thank you both. And she is humble enough to not identify herself as such, but Julia is the foremost expert on where to eat in Bellingham. So if you are visiting our town and need to know where to grab lunch or dinner, Julia is absolutely the person to reach out to. Julia, non-food related follow-up question. How long does it take to walk from one end of campus to the other?
If you're speed walking, like in a hurry, I need to get somewhere, I'd say about 10 to 15 minutes. If you're taking time, enjoying the sculpture garden, maybe you trip over a brick, I've had it happen, then about 20 minutes. So it's pretty easy to get around campus. It's certainly easy to get from one class, one building to another and still have time for a quick snack.
Awesome, thank you. And yes, answer to that certainly may depend on how much you've had to eat as well. So does food adjacent. We're going to go to Megan for our next question. This is probably one of our most frequently asked questions this time of year, just period. What do first year and transfer students need to do for math placement?
It's a great one. Great one. Thanks for asking this question. Most students will need to take the math placement assessment, which Western uses ALEX as our test option. It can be done fully remotely. This is a pre-COVID, you could do it fully remote. And students will be required to take it at least 2 times. And that second time needs to be proctored. And what will happen is you'll download proctoring software on your computer, and it actually uses your webcam. So there's some great information on the Testing Center website that provides information to students about how to do it, how it works. The Testing Center is a great resource if you have questions or run into any snafus along the way. But Western's been using this testing platform for a few years, and it's working very, very well for us, especially as we're continuing to be remote right now. I will say that if you are coming in with some transfer credits or certain AP scores, there are a list of exceptions on the ALEX MPA website. I'm sure Nicole's going to post it in the chat here for us. So if you're curious, I may have some transfer credit for math or something. Do I meet one of these exceptions? They are on that website. But again, most new students to Western do need to take that math placement assessment. And I would say get that done before you come see us at fall advising and registration, because we're going to want to be able to see what that placement is to help advise you accurately.
Great, thank you, Megan. And yeah, another plug for the frequently asked questions for the math placement assessment. Of all of the frequently asked questions pages on our website, that may be the most detailed and thorough. So definitely check that out if you have any doubts. Megan, we actually have a math placement assessment follow-up for you as well. What students who don't have a webcam, how do they navigate that?
That's a great question. I would defer probably to the testing center for that question. I know that Western's testing center, I haven't checked it recently, but they have had some limited availability where you could schedule appointments in the testing center. It may also be that the ALEX test is actually used pretty broadly. I know in Washington State as well. So it may be that they could help you find out what your local community college or other institution that might offer ALEX, that you could take it in a socially distanced, secure testing center that's meeting safe guidelines. So if you don't have those resources, but I do know things like libraries and other resources that you can check that out. If you are in Bellingham, I know that students can check out laptops from ATUS, which is our technology support services. So that could possibly be another option, is checking out a laptop that has a webcam.
Great, thanks, Megan. Next question is for Jen. Jen, are there rec sports for people who aren't really good at sports, and are there open tryouts?
We do have sport clubs. So if you're interested in competing, that is more casual and you can join a club to actually compete collegiately, but not at the athletics schedule or athletics level. And we also have intramural sports. So you can join an intramural. You don't have to have any experience to be a part of that. Join with folks in your residence hall or in a classroom or your friends, or just join a team and meet some new folks. And make some new friends that way. So you'll want to check out the Rec Center website for more information about intramurals. I know they were doing some online activities during COVID, and they're slowly trying to figure out how to come back and do that now that we're starting to get back into athletics. So definitely check those out. They're a lot of fun. And we do have a few recreational clubs that aren't a part of that as well. One of our most popular ones is Quidditch. Yes, you can play Quidditch. And if you visit campus on a Sunday, you might see them practicing. They are back on campus practicing in a small group, no contact, and getting that practice in to gear up for next year. So definitely check them out. And we have several other recreational sports that are very casual, hiking, bird watching. Our Surf Rider Club does beach cleanups. So lots of different ways to get outside and be active and find the recreation that fits your lifestyle for sure.
Cool, thank you, Jen. And at this point, I feel like I have to out myself a little bit. I actually played 3 years of Quidditch when I was a student at Western. On my last year on the team, we went to the US Quidditch Nationals in South Carolina, and we won a National Sportsmanship Award. So yeah, big plug for Quidditch there. It's a lot of fun, great people. We're gonna circle back around to the questions about Woot. Rana, putting you on the spot. I'm not sure if you have the updated info, but please feel free to share what you have there. And we should be sharing some information about that in the chat as well. But yeah, Rana, take it away.
Great. It will be a short answer. The website says information coming soon. So that's about all we can do. But Jen did drop the link to Woot in the chat. And so that was probably the best place to go back to that website and to continue to look for it there. Typically, they've had some things that will come out a little bit more like May, June with their updates. So they may still be making some decisions too about what that's going to look like this year.
Great, thank you. And yeah, like Rana said, information in the chat, further information to come a little bit later on the spring and summer. Next question is for Julia. Julia, what do I need to do if I want to defer or take a gap year? And how does this impact my scholarships? I think, is Julia frozen or is this on my end?
Oh, there she goes. What's happening is that there's Julie. Okay, there's a bit of a delay when we leave the chat open. It just scrolls so fast that's causing a delay on the buffering side. So Julia, please go ahead.
Yes, I am unfrozen. I'm back. Okay, so deferring enrollment. We have this great online web form. I found the easiest way to find it, although I'm sure it'll be posted in the chat as well, is to Google WWU deferral, and that'll take you right to the page. For incoming first-year students, you can request to defer 1 quarter or up to a full year. So if you want to take that full gap year, maybe you have some really exciting opportunities for volunteering, potentially travel even, you can do that. What that process looks like, you'll want to confirm enrollment by May 1st. You really want to make sure you're getting all those deadlines. And then by June 1st, you'll want to submit your deferral request. You'll fill out what quarter you want to defer to, share a bit of information about what your plans are for your deferral or gap year, and then you'll receive a response to notify you whether that has been approved. If you defer, you can take your scholarship with you so long as funding for that scholarship remains. So if you were deferring from fall 21 to fall 2022, your scholarship will just roll over to that next year with you. So it's a really good idea to do that deferral and make sure you submit everything by those deadlines.
Great, thank you, Julia. And next question is for Jen. Jen, is it easy for students to get a job on campus?
I'm so glad you asked that. We're actually hiring right now. There's a lot of positions open, and those are open to incoming students. Within the AS, we have about 100 positions that are paid on all sorts of levels and experiences, and you typically don't have to have prior experience to get those jobs, but they can be really competitive. We also have lots of volunteer experiences to kind of get your foot in the door, get a taste of what we do over here in the Associated Students, from governmental affairs, liaisons, going down to Olympia and talking with legislators there, to helping out with concerts and behind the scenes kind of stuff. Of course, clubs are a great way to do that as well. We have a lot of committees that you can sit on, some that meet really regularly, such as our Activities Council, which approves new clubs and money for club activities. To some that just meet maybe once a quarter, some that you can assist with the parking appeal. So all sorts of different opportunities to get involved, either volunteering or as a paid position. For example, my office in the Club Hub or Club Activities office, we have staff that are helping clubs run their events. We have promotion and outreach, so our social media platform, as well as finance managing. So we have all sorts of different levels of experience and knowledge to use those skills in the workplace. And you don't have to, it doesn't have to tie to your degree. So if it's just a passion that you have, but you don't get to practice that as part of your degree, jobs on campus are a great way to do that. And there's departments across campus that are hiring right now. Peer academic advisors, tutors, housing, dining, all sorts of stuff. So there's plethora of ways, either work study or non-work study, to get paid while you are on campus. And of course, we do support off-campus jobs as well. Walking downtown is another great place. You can just walk to work and do that. And yeah, I feel like I was going to go somewhere and then lost my train of thought, but yes, lots of jobs. So if you check out the Student Employment Center website, that'll give you lots of listings and direct you to the right place to go to apply for jobs.
Great, thank you, Jen. And we're going on to our last question now. This is a question for everyone, but we'll try to answer it in the next 3 minutes or so before we pass it back to Chris and Nate. Question for all, what's your advice for students who are undecided about their major? We'll start with Julia and then just pop around for anyone else who wants to chime in.
My advice would be explore your options. If you have an interest, take a class in an intro class in that topic. Explore our majors catalog, see what's out there. You might find something that you didn't even know you could major in, and also reach out to those around you. See what other people that you know from clubs or from your residence hall, see what they're studying and what they think of it. And also you can check out our Career Services Center as well. If you know what your end dream job is, but you're not quite sure how to get there, you can go get in touch with them and see what kind of options might help you get to that point.
Robert, I'm going to defer my time mostly for Megan, but before we close out, I would love to share 1 minute or so about vaccines before we close out. But so let's do that. But Megan, please, you first. Thank you.
That was great, Julia. Yes, I would second all of that. There's ways to take general university requirements as well to try out majors. And oftentimes students find that those general university requirements end up being introductory courses to majors. So that is really a helpful thing. Lots of resources and availability. Just to put in an extra plug for the Career Services site, our advisors are on it on a regular basis. They have a major exploration portion where you can learn about graduates. I know I found that super helpful when I was coming to Western. I think I want to major in this, but where do people go get jobs? So that can be really helpful. And there's some free career assessments that you can take on their website. And they also have really small cost. Myers-Briggs is one of the ones that they offer. So some great resources there. The biggest thing is explore. You can always change your mind, of course, but just start that process of exploration. It's fun. It's exciting. It's like a big puzzle. So.
Great. Thank you, Megan. And Cesar, feel free to take it away for a word on vaccines.
Yeah, it's an important one to close out. And I'm actually surprised that it didn't come up more explicitly, but here it is. So first of all, fully recognizing that each family needs to be making their decisions with regards to comfort level, accessibility to vaccines, as well as moving forward, right? Students in your household going on to join a broader community of learners. So to keep that in mind, I'm going to talk a little bit about how Western is planning on processing the information coming from on high. And what I mean from on high, it's beyond even what's happening at the administrative level of the university, and think about what's happening at the CDC level. Why is that important to keep in mind is that when folks ask the very direct question, will Western require students to have vaccines before coming to campus? As of right now, you don't see a lot of public college universities or state agencies making that kind of a requirement because the vaccine is still very much under emergency authorization by the CDC. If things change where the CDC comes with a more formal, permanent recommendation for vaccination across the population, you're going to then see state agencies, for the matter of employment, as well as access to services, as well as public institutions. You may see universities and colleges engage in conversations with regards to, do we make this a requirement, and how do we make this accessible and supportive of the population? Western is an authorized vaccination site, so we are actually in the planning of making those resources available, the opportunity for students to get vaccinated on a voluntary basis right now. But as things do change, as I pointed out at the very, very top level, CDC coming down to administration, and then certainly our Student Health Center, we're going to see that being rolled out in a much more intentional way going forward. The conversations that you perhaps need to have thinking about the future is absolutely be aware of what are the institutions that you're looking at considering, Western among others. What is the plan going to look like going forward? And if you are comfortable with having the vaccine, then I would encourage you to look at what the resources in your home community right now, right? Do not necessarily wait for the summer, do not necessarily wait for the fall. And Western here is doing its part, being an authorized vaccination site, and then keeping an eye on what's happening at the federal and the state level. And that's what we need to be doing going forward. So certainly wish you well in making those decisions, and we'll all come together in the community and rolling out towards more normalcy here over the next several months.
Great. Thank you, Cesar. And I think that's a great word to end on. I want to say a few thank yous. I want to say thank you to everyone for sharing your questions. I've had one eye on the chat this whole time, and it's been a enthusiastic, excited, and overwhelmingly kind and helpful chat as well. So thank you so much for everyone who's been involved in there. I know we've been in a lot of Zoom chats in the past 13 months, and I imagine that this has to be one of the better ones. I want to say thank you to Julia, Cesar, Megan, Jen, and Rana for joining us. We were also joined behind the scenes by Freddie, Grace, Jean, Diana, Nicole, and Joe. Big shout out to Joe and Allie, without whom we would not all be here today learning and sharing together. So thank you to everyone involved who made this possible. And we're going to pass it back to Nate and Chris. Good visiting with all of you.
Thank you, Robert. Nate, how's it going?
Welcome back. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Awesome, man. What are you wearing?
Yeah, so I have here my vintage Western Washington hat from back in the dinosaur days and back in the 90s, Chris. And then also a cool Western old shirt as well. So some cool old gear.
Right on. Yeah, I got my Viking helmet on. The horns don't necessarily show my virtual background. I got my Viking sweatshirt on, which I wear when I go to my Viking volleyball games and basketball games. Speaking of volleyball, by the way, they just swept Western Oregon this morning. They're playing again this afternoon. If you want to watch, of course, any of you are welcome to watch any Viking athletics by going to www.vikings.com, and you can click on Viking TV and you can see any of Western's athletics events taking place. So they're very, very, very good. I think been to the national championships twice in the last 5 years or so. So
yeah.
Good. Well, sweet. So give us a little summary about this last session that Robert, Megan, Julia, Jen, Rana, and Cesar.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's hard to put it in a summary because there was just so many great information. And we talked about clubs. We talked about what next year is going to look like. We also talked about on-campus jobs. I want to highlight that again. I think that was one of my greatest experiences. And Chris, you had an on-campus job as well when you were a student. And that's where you develop community. And I guess that's my theme for today, community and just hanging out with folks. And yeah, so it was super, super informative. And like I said, if you had any more questions from that, feel free to text that number that's on the website. And you know, people will be happy to answer those questions for you. So
right on.
Yeah. What's going on in your background, Chris? What is that? Is that the WW? Okay.
Athletics love. You got Chuck and a Drive there, I can tell right there.
I do, yeah. So if anyone is driving up to Bellingham or coming to school, best recommendation is to take Chuckanut Drive. You go along the water, absolutely gorgeous. And it runs right into our Fairhaven district, which is just right there below campus. So super, super awesome.
Yeah, my last backdrop that I had with that beautiful sunset was actually directly above from where your screen is, above Chuckanut Drive at the Samish Overlook. There's a lot of really great hikes here in the Bellingham area for sure. So
awesome. Right on. Well, I think we have to do a quick turnaround here to get the things going for our next 115 session. Is that right, Chris?
That sounds right to me, buddy.
All righty. So we will kick everybody off to your next sessions.
All right. And I lied to all of you students the last time we were all together. I said that we were going to have a housing session. What you're actually going to do now for this one is you can stay right here, and there is going to be a student. I want to make sure I get this right this time because I messed it up last time. Yeah, there's a student panel which you can gather questions from our students. I'm assuming led by the great Freddie Collins, who has jumped on board right there. I love your jacket, buddy. And if you don't want to do the student panel, you can do this time around. You can see a virtual housing tour that you can do as well, which you can get to from the website. So take it away, Freddie.
I'm so excited to see you guys, dude. You guys already know. You guys are my guys. Chris Roselli, one of my mentors. Nate Gaines, you know, that's my son right there. I love you, boy. And I'm super excited to see y'all today. Appreciate y'all. Everybody in the chat, you already know what's up, coming through with the energy, my guys, and Freddie C, I'm batting cleanup. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and jump into our student panel, just like my guy Chris said. So definitely stick around for that, for all my panelists. If you guys want to cut your cameras on, that will be amazing. And look at the chat right now going crazy. My drip is coming through kind of clutch, let's be honest. Also, I feel so fake because I've been wearing basketball like jerseys for the last calendar year, and I finally put on the suit. But I appreciate you. I left the rollie at home. But super, super excited about this. And then most importantly, I'm super excited for y'all to link in with our students today. I got some of my favorite students working with us. And so these are going to be our student tour guides. Love them so much. A lot of them I actually met while they were doing the kind of admissions process and applying to our school and looking for scholarships and all that good stuff. So I'm super, super excited to see them in here. So I'm definitely going to have them introduce themselves, but just a little bit about me, Freddie C, Martin Luther, Freddie C Obama, whatever you want to call me, it's all good. But I'm the senior admissions counselor here at Western. So one of the people who reads applications. So I pressed yes on all your applications, so definitely feel free to say thanks. But most importantly is that I was just super excited to be able to link in with y'all today. Everybody knows I love visiting y'all at the high schools and bothering you in the career center or whatever. Obviously we can't do that this year, but I definitely want y'all to know that you're definitely loved, and we're definitely super proud of y'all. Like, this job has definitely turned me into a mom, so I'm super, super proud of y'all, and I'm excited for y'all coming through and just taking that next step. So what we're gonna do is for all my panelists, if y'all could go ahead and unmute yourselves and go around, introduce yourself, that would be fantastic. Anything that you think our students might want to know about this. And then especially anything that you think the students might want to know as far as where you're from, your major, things that made you kind of choose Western. And then for all my students in the chat, and again, I see a lot of familiar names in here, so I'm excited to see y'all, or at least see your names, is think about any questions that you might have for my students, and then we'll go ahead and get started in just a bit. So I'm gonna pass it over to Madison, if you don't mind, to introduce yourself.
Not at all. Hi, everybody. My name is Madison Gonzalez-Besh. I'm from Fort Collins, Colorado, and I am majoring in graphic design and also getting my Illustrator certificate, which is really exciting. I'm in my 4th year here at Western, which is kind of unbelievable. It's gone by so fast. But yeah, I'm going to be graduating soon, and I'm very excited about that. I'm really excited to still be in Bellingham. I really love Bellingham. It's beautiful nature. It's a really great community. I've really enjoyed just getting to like run in the Chuckanuts or in the Seaholm Arboretum right behind Western Washington, or go to the beach with my friends. I love how accessible nature is here for so many people, but there's also a lot of great downtown coffee shops and bookstores and all sorts of things that you can do that are not outside as well. And I'm really excited to be here to talk to you all today. And I will pass it over to Elizabeth.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Maddie. And hi, everyone else that's here. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Freddie. My name is Elizabeth. I am an elementary education student here at Western, and I am minoring in education and social justice. So all things education related, essentially. I am a transfer student originally from Columbia Basin College in Tri-Cities, Washington. So I'm from the opposite side of the state. It's been super interesting being here, super fun, a huge transition, but it's been amazing overall. And I don't know, some of the things I like to do, I'm a little bit of a homebody, so I do like being home. I like watching Netflix and doing all those things, but I do also like getting out, especially exploring new restaurants. I've gotten to discover a few new ones, I guess, more recently, Deanna's, I think, Cafe Italiano. Very good, very delicious, highly recommend their spicy scampi linguine. But yeah, that's some of the things that I've been doing around here, but I'll pass it over to Sarah.
Here at Western. I'm a cultural anthropology major. I actually only have one more quarter until I graduate. I am originally from Puyallup, Washington, and came here as a running start student. So it's just a little bit ahead of my GURs. When I'm not doing school stuff, I love being in Bellingham. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. We have such beautiful beaches and places to hike. I love going along Chuckanut. And I recently started picking up rock collecting. So that's been super fun around here. So yeah, I'm going to pass it on to Jalen.
Perfect. Hey everyone, my name's Jalen. I use they, he pronouns, and I'm currently a 3rd-year student here at Western. I'm originally from a smaller town known as Washougal, but since not many people know where that's at, I like to say I'm from the Portland, majoring in business administration with a management focus. And I'm also involved in an on-campus organization called Happy Club, which is basically where a bunch of Western students come together every week and are just able to vent or distress for about like an hour and a half. During the pandemic, it's basically just been like a big, giant group FaceTime call, just a bunch of friends hanging out via the online times. But besides all the on-campus information about myself, I'm also extremely interested in the field of makeup and would love to apply my major to the beauty industry upon graduating. And besides that, I also do love going on new hikes, especially since moving to the Bellingham area, since there's so many fun areas to explore here. And also just hanging out at the waterfront areas with a hammock. Just anytime I can spend outside, I love being out there. But yeah, I'll pass it back on over to Freddie, I believe.
Do it. Yeah, no, I appreciate y'all. And again, we have a lot of students at Western, 16,000 students almost. I'm going to be honest, these are some of my favorites. You can already tell that they're super dope. And especially I'm going to shout out again for all my students in the crowd. Y'all are making me laugh in the chat. That's the type of energy that I like. Jalen, your curls are swinging right now. Madison got the hoops coming through to clutch. So it's really exciting to do this today. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with our first question. And I'm gonna throw this one to everybody actually, because I think it's really important. Is why did you choose your major, if you have chosen? And then I'll go for Sarah first, please.
On accident. I went in to be an environmental studies major, and I'm still an environmental studies minor. I still love Huxley College, but I kind of just like offhand decided to take a cultural anthropology class and was like, oh, no, like this is what I want to do. Like I understand it now. It just sort of clicked in the moment. And then I ended up doing an archaeological field school over the summer. So it sort of tied in like the environmental with the anthropology. And it just like excited me more than any other subject that I've studied before. And I do want to go into the Peace Corps. So I sort of figured that like environmental and humanities would work perfect together. So that's kind of how I fell in love with my major.
Cool. And then how about for my friend Jalen, what you got?
Perfect. So yeah, I knew that I wanted to, or know that I want to like someday be involved in the beauty industry, but since there's not like really a major for that at most four-year universities, I decided to kind of combine that passion with the major like business, since you can kind of put those two hand in hand and still be involved in something that I'm passionate about, while literally still being pursuing like a higher up job position. But yeah, so that's kind of how I figured out what major I wanted to be in. Also, my first 2 years, I was very undecisive, didn't know what I wanted to do. So that was definitely my process choosing my major. But I can pass it on to Madison to talk about that next.
I am not doing history, Hannah, but I do love history and the history classes I've taken at Western. But I chose graphic design. Why did I choose graphic design? I originally was a studio art major. I applied with a portfolio and everything, but I didn't really get into the major too much because I was really attracted to graphic design. I didn't know much about it, but it was kind of a smaller major on campus, and I really loved the work that they were producing, and it just seemed that I would have a lot more options open to me in the creative world when I graduated from university. And so there was some like financial stuff kind of running through my mind, like, oh, you know, I like graphic design, just, you know, there's so many different things you can do with that. And I was really attracted to that piece of it. But I really love how it can just be applied to everything, from the way, you know, a coffee cup is made, to the way we drive, to the way we navigate airports, to like, it can be applied to everything. So I am really excited about all the possibility design offers, and that's probably why I chose it the most. Yeah, I'll pass it to Elizabeth.
Yeah, so education has been something I wanted to do for a long time. I've always liked going to school, not necessarily for the learning part, but I like being at school. When at home it was a little bit boring, I found it at times. So I enjoyed being at school. That kind of transgressed into me wanting to be a teacher, and I've known that since I was a kid. Pretty much I liked playing teacher. I don't know how much of that was just me liking to be the boss of things. That might just be the Virgo in me, but I'm not sure. I just know that that's kind of what I wanted to do for a while. For a moment I did want to be a forensic anthropologist, but only because I started watching Bones. Other than that, I went right back to wanting to be a teacher. So that was a pretty easy choice for me. When I got to Western though, I decided to go into education and social justice, which wasn't in my original plan. I was just going to graduate with my education degree and go as that. But I found that I kind of wanted a little bit more of the systemic issues addressed in my program. And I found that out through education and social justice. So I've been able to learn a lot more about things that I can do to dismantle sort of the foundation that we've created education on, and how inequitable it is, because at the end of the day, it is very inequitable for a lot of folks, especially the marginalized communities that we have here in this country. So I've been, you know, transitioning into that. So that's kind of why I chose ESJ. But the regular elementary has just been a long time coming for me. But yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to do that. And I'm really excited into starting to teach, especially now that I've gotten to start my student internship, which is really exciting being in the classroom with kids. So super fun stuff. But yeah, I'll pass it to Freddie for another question.
Nah, I thought that was fantastic. Just first of all, thank y'all. I think my friend Indigo in the chat had a super hard bar, just saying that all majors are cool as long as you're passionate about it. I think that really wraps things up and kind of sums things up really well. I know for me, I was a Western grad as well. I love y'all in the chat because a lot of y'all do know what you want to go for. I was fully undecided when I came to Western, and so I just also want to say that that's totally chill as well. As I started going along, I started doing the engineering program, but I started in kind of in the same bag of Elizabeth, started taking some of those cultural classes and learning about some of those inequities and such. And so I ended up doing my own major through Fairhaven where I could create my own, and that was diversity in higher education too. So even if you have like multiple interests, you definitely can combine different things. But most importantly, college is a great place to just kind of learn what you're passionate about. And I think, especially I'll speak for my own self, and probably my stars will smile when I say this and nod, is that it was a lot easier coming to college as opposed to high school for me, just because I actually cared about the classes that I was taking as opposed to being forced to take a bunch of stuff that I didn't care about. So it's just awesome to be able to learn about stuff you actually care about, get that credit, get that knowledge, and then get closer to graduation as well. So definitely appreciate y'all. One thing I did not do, and I'll apologize for this, is I want to shout out all of my chat mods as well. I know we have quite a few stars moderating the chat. So shout out to Liz and John and Spencer and Katie and Rebecca Rod. Definitely appreciate y'all holding us down in the chat. But we'll go ahead and get off to our next question. And then this one is going to be, how many classes do you recommend taking first quarter? And anyone could jump in there if you feel so.
I'll take this one first. I think it's just going to depend on every single person and how much you can take. I've always taken 15, maybe 16 or so credits, but that's more than what the full schedule is. A full quarter is just those 12 credits. So it really just depends on how much you can handle. I started at community college, so it was a little bit, I think, easier of a transition for me with taking that many credits. So I got a, firsthand experience onto what that was like, and then transitioning that to the higher courses, so things of like 300, 400 level, it started getting a little bit easier. But I think it definitely depends on the person and how much you think you can handle. And then again, if you have like jobs, or if you have a lot of extracurricular things you want to do, if you have like a lot of those kind of things, maybe taking less credits, so just sticking with the 12 as long as you do like a full quarter thing. And then if you have less of that stuff to do and you want to dedicate more time to school, then definitely take on more. But it is important to note also that I believe, and someone can fact check this, but after the 18th credit, they do start charging a little bit more per credit. So maybe take that into account as well. But definitely depends on what your stress load is and how much you can take on for yourself.
Totally. Anybody else want to jump in on that, or how you feeling about that? She killed it. Yeah, go for it, Sarah.
My first quarter, I also came from community college, where it's typically standard that you take 15 credits a quarter. At least for me, under the state, it was Running Start. So when I came in, that's what I kind of figured I was going to do. And I kind of found that at least for me, my intro level classes, when I was taking 15 credits a quarter, for the first quarter at least, was actually like pretty like harder than I thought it would be. It was a lot more work than community college. It was a lot more work than high school. So I got a little bit frustrated with myself because I was like, oh, I should be able to do this. But I kind of found for myself that about 13 credits is where I really do well in, taking just maybe not all 5 credits, especially for some of those intro courses, because I think as you get higher up in your education, you're doing more long-term project work. And so if you know that you struggle with deadlines or stuff like that, I think that it can be helpful to take just a little bit less credits while still doing full time. But I definitely know a lot of people who went full on and took 18 credits for like 3 quarters. So if you are a machine, go for that. That's just not me.
For sure. And just one thing to add to that, and it's going to kind of go into our next question as well, but definitely work with your advisors as you move forward, just because I know that my 15 credits when I tried to take calculus and physics and chemistry hit a little bit different than some of my other quarters. So definitely keep that in mind, but that will be a really great transition to our next one. And then I'll throw this one over to Jalen. Are there school counselors available to all students?
Perfect. So yes, there are school counselors that are going to be assigned to all students. I know that You can access them by going through Web for You, and there's this little link out to a little like spreadsheet called DegreeWorks, which kind of just shows everything that you need to do to meet your graduation requirements. And on that, it'll have your counselor's name listed as well with contact information for them. I know that I have definitely relied on my counselor a ton for making my class schedules, or just like anything confusing for the classes that I was signing up for the next quarter. They always are able to help, or even like applying for pre-majors if you want to do that so that you're just automatically into your field. But yeah, just anything with that, they're super helpful with that. But yeah, everyone, to answer that underlying question, yes, everyone will have a counselor.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to clarify a little bit as well, is that when you first get started at Western, hopefully y'all are going to be coming, this upcoming fall, you're going to sign up for orientation and such. And so you're going to do so with the help of an academic advisor. So you'll be able to sit down with them one-on-one. And like I said, that one quarter when I was trying to do too much, they were like, that's a horrible idea. You might want to switch your schedule up because that sounds bad. And you're working outside of school as well. So like you need to chill. But once you get into your major, you're going to get an advisor as well. So kind of on both ends. And then just even taking it another step is that we do have a lot of mental health services and just counseling center on campus as well. So if you ever need to chat with somebody, or, we all been stuck at home for quite a while, so if you ever need to get something off of your chest, they're definitely going to be available to you as well. We all know how important mental health is right now, right? So we're going to slide into this next one. And so Elizabeth, I'm going to throw you this one. What would you recommend doing to make friends freshman year?
God, I feel like I'm a terrible person to ask that question too, but it's okay. Again, it's just like a lot of my answer can be largely depends on you. I know I'm somebody who's a little bit of an introvert, so it takes a little bit more for me to get out there and just start talking with people. I got lucky going into my transfer year because I immediately went into essentially my program. So I was immediately kind of thrown into classrooms who had a bunch of students who were going to be majoring in the same thing I was. So that was a really good way. So if you already know kind of what program you want to do or what major you're going into, there's pretty much any department and program has their own club assigned to it. So you can always join that club and kind of get in touch with those people who have a similar path to you, because you'll likely be having more classes with them. You'll be seeing them more often. I also did join a few different ESC clubs. So ESC is a ethnic student center. I'm a Latina person. I am Mexican. I do identify as that. So I joined one of the clubs and I got to go to an ESC conference where there was a whole bunch of other people who were also BIPOC here at Western. And we got to go to, I think it was Whidbey Island, I'm not sure, but we were there for a couple of days and we got to do a whole bunch of fun different breakout rooms, and we got to do a lot of fun things and hear talks from folks here, professors and just other faculty here at Western who was a POC. So that was really fun to see, a really fun experience, because I felt like I had more of an immediate relation to those people. So it was really cool doing that. So that was another thing I did. Kind of what really brought me out of my shell though was joining this job. So becoming a tour guide and kind of finally getting my blue jacket and stuff. I got to meet a whole bunch of amazing people. Madison was among the group that we got hired with. So I've known her for a little bit longer than Sarah or Jalen, but they're also, part of the tour guides now, which is really fun. So from there, I got to kind of expand the people that I knew, and I got to see more of people all over from Western rather than just ESC or just my program or Woodring College of Education, which is really cool. So those are the things that I did, but that's kind of what I can speak on, and I'll maybe leave it to Sarah, Jalen, or Madison to speak on how they made friends their first quarter here.
I can take it over. Well, how I largely made friends my first year was housing and the dormitories, and like just getting to sit down with people and having a meal, saying like, oh, hey, like I saw you earlier on my floor. Are you heading to the dining hall? I'm heading now. Do you want to eat together? Like it was so easy. Like I was so impressed and shocked by like the ease of like how many people were open to just new connections and new people, and just really craving intimacy and connection. And I made really, really good friends with the people on my floor. I was in the Fairhaven dormitory, and it was, yeah, and I'm still really, really great friends with a lot of those people today. But then of course through clubs, and then of course, like Elizabeth said, this job, I just naturally created more and more friends. And it got to the point that whenever I would go on campus, you know, there wasn't somebody that I didn't know. I would always see people throughout the day, people from my class, people from the dorms, people that I knew from other friends, and you know, it was a very interconnected community space. And that's something that I love the most about Western.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we need to stick into the same bag. But just kind of going off what some of y'all are saying is definitely just getting involved and kind of putting yourself out there. And I'll just say for me personally, it was a lot easier. I felt like it was easier to do at Western than some other schools because I felt like everybody here was pretty open and they were pretty chill and they were just willing to make friends and they weren't so much stuck up like I felt like some people were at certain schools that I visited. So definitely throughout different courses, throughout different jobs. I know, and I had some shout outs for him in the chat as well, but I know my guy Robert was rocking the kind of panel earlier, but me and Robert used to do tours together back in the day. And then we both got hired maybe a month after we both graduated. So through different things like that, again, what Elizabeth was saying, I definitely want to double down on that as far as our cultural clubs and our ethnic student center clubs, a great way to build community. And again, shout out to the chat because I love y'all. A lot of melanated kings and queens out there. So if you want to link in with your people and kind of make community in that sense, you definitely can. But one thing I thought that was even better than that was they're open to everyone. So even if you're coming through and you're being respectful and you want to learn about somebody else's culture, you're more than welcome to go to like other clubs that might not be your culture or ethnicity. And in that same type of vein as well, we have our Queer Resource Center, our Women's Center, our Veteran Services Center. So a lot of different ways to get involved for sure. But I think in that same kind of vein and just kind of going into it a little bit more, we had a couple questions in the chat as far as making advice of making the best of the dorms, clubs, and student experiences as a whole. And then also a couple questions just about the dorms themselves is, can you move stuff around? Just what's the vibe in there for any of my people who lived in the dorms?
You move stuff around in your dorm. Yes, you absolutely can move stuff around in your dorm. My friend across the hall, I think, rearranged her dorm a total of like 20 times across the year. I would come and like the beds would be everywhere. So yeah, you can even move like the height on it and stuff. But as far as the dorms go, I mean, I remember coming into Western being super, super nervous about going into residence halls because I didn't know anybody here at Western. Like it was just me. And I ended up really loving the community that you can find there. There's so many amazing people that you can meet. I ended up meeting like people that I live with now. So I think that like getting involved with just your RA and getting involved with hall council and stuff like that is always a really, really good idea. But yeah, I don't think there's anything to be nervous about. And you definitely can move around your room and bring different sorts of stuff. So I'm going to pass it on to whoever wants to answer it next, to be honest.
I'll drop another question for y'all with regard to dorms too, is what is one thing that I absolutely need to bring when moving into dorms?
I would say personally, since Western can get kind of colder during those winter months, a heated blanket was like my saving grace. I loved having that during those dorm years. Honestly, even still living in my apartment, still use that same heated blanket. So definitely worth the purchase. But that's definitely something that I would recommend to bring during your first year at the dorms. I don't know if anyone else has anything that they want to mention.
This is, I don't know, this is pretty normal, but I guess the boxes that have the little wheels on the bottom, you can kind of put them under your bed and you can kind of take them out. And I use that for my storage, and it was so nice because Depending on where you dorm, some of the rooms can be a little bit smaller. At least you usually will always have like this giant wardrobe, and I really love that, which is a great place to put all of your clothes and stuff and whatnot. But if you have other items, right, like it's good to have like good storage for under your bed, I found personally. And then the wheels was just really nice. I remember the people who were living under me were like, are you like they thought that I had like, they made jokes that I would pull out like a dead body because it sounded so heavy every time I would pull it out. And I was like, no, they're just boxes. But it was funny.
I was gonna say storage as well, actually, Maddie. I found that I needed a lot of storage. They do give you, your desk, your bed and stuff, but it's really nice having that under the bed storage, especially if you don't like seeing a mess in your room. It's nice just being able to store it underneath your bed where a blanket's gonna cover it. But this other thing I would say, I honestly, I lived in on the ridge in Gamma, so I was kind of like the farthest from like everything. And while I liked it for the privacy, I was really far away from the water fountain thingy or like water refillable stations. So honestly, one thing that I would say is like if you can get like a Brita of some kind or some kind of like water filtration system, that would be really nice if you're like farther away from like a dining hall or something. If you're really close, it probably is no point. But I would say that. And I did see a question too that I want to ask. Somebody said if it's better for corridor style or suite style. So maybe for the, I'm not trying to take over your job, Freddie, or anything. For the folks who are here, if you have a preference, if you did live in the dorms, maybe you can touch on why. I know I lived in a suite style and I like that better just because I like the privacy of having more of like an individual bathroom, even though you're sharing it with a few other people, but it's still less than like a whole hall. So I kind of like that privacy, but it's also, it was cleaned less than the hall style dorms. Those are cleaned every day, I think twice a day. For me, my situation, our suite style dorms, the bathrooms are only cleaned once a week. So, if you're someone who's really messy in the bathroom and don't like to clean it, maybe that's not the best option for you. But I did prefer suite to hall style, but I don't know if somebody else has an opinion on that as well.
I also stayed in a suite style and also have to say that I preferred that type of living. Just because it does come with a little kitchenette as well, at least in Buchanan Towers where I stayed. So you can like not always have to rely on the dining hall if maybe you want to have a night in and not have to go out to eat. So yeah, I would definitely say that I preferred the suite living style, but it's also just up to like what you prefer. If you want to have the responsibility of cleaning your own bathroom more often than the hall style dorms would, but that's my opinion on that. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts.
That more than a suite style. I think it really just depends on like who you are. I know for a lot of the suite styles that I was looking for on the ridge, my biggest thing that I didn't really want was that a lot of times you have to walk outside to do laundry, which is totally fine. Like it's not a big deal. I'm just super cold all the time, so I didn't want to do that. But a corridor style, I really liked it because I just got to meet so many people. Like I don't think that I would have gotten to meet as many people as I did if I didn't live there, especially because I feel like I kind of need to be like brought out of my shell a little bit by other people. And there's also like a lot of just like really fun things that happen. Like you run into people that you in the hallway and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it really is definitely like your personal preference though.
For sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate y'all for saying those things, and just for a couple like rapid fire questions in the chat. Is it worth having a mini fridge? Totally up to you. A lot of my friends did though, for sure. It was really good. They were asking about living off campus as well. So we definitely have an off-campus living page on our university housing website. And also I know a lot of people join the Facebook admitted student group. I didn't know Facebook was still a thing, but it seems like the admitted student group is actually pretty fire because it's really good if you're thinking about living off campus and you want to live with somebody who is a current Western student. And again, shout out to my chat mods because I know y'all are handling stuff in there. So we're going to slide over to another one, and this is another important one. And they said, what student services are available other than mental health services in general? And I'll go for a Madison, please.
We have a lot of different services. We have our veteran services. So you or a parent or a guardian worked in the military, that's a service that we have. We have also a lot of academic services that I used when I was taking my GURs that were super helpful, like our GUR tutoring center for math and science. I was in there literally every day when I was in a math class and would just do my homework and call if I needed any sort of help. They always have people that are there waiting to answer your questions, and it was so helpful. We also have our writing and research center, which is really great if you're writing a paper and you don't know what you want your thesis to be on, you don't know how to do Chicago style MLA citations. That was really helpful when I was in a history class in my first year. Let's see, Elizabeth, can you think of any other services that we have as well? We have quite a few.
Yeah, I was thinking of the identity resource centers we have in the MCC, as well as a few other departments. I think they have things like the Women's Identity Resource Center, LGBTQIA Identity Resource Center. We have a few disability outreach and access. Those are two different ones, but we have those centers as well, amongst a few other ones. There's also, when you're making that transition from moving off campus, there is an office. I believe it's also, if it's not in the MCC, it is in the Viking Union, but they help you look at leases or look at different off-campus housing situations. So if you're trying to make that step, but you don't want to do it totally alone, there is also that resource available for you. And then all the other ones I was thinking of were kind of within my, like the Woodring College of Education, since we do have those separate colleges. Once you've joined a program, or even before, if you just want a little bit more, like an advisor to talk to that's going to be more detailed towards your program of choice, I would definitely look into your programs and departments or colleges, whichever you want to call it. Look into those because they're often going to have a lot more in detail advising and stuff that they can give you than just general advising, which is still amazing. So whatever your preference is, but definitely look into what's available within your department. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one that I'll shout out as well is career services. For me, I wasn't thinking about them too much, but when I was trying to decide what major I wanted to go for, like I was just seeing all these different words and I didn't really know realistically what jobs were associated with those. And then also I was concerned, as I'm sure a lot of y'all are, about how much the school was going to cost and if I would be able to pay back my loans and such. So they have a lot of good stats about, hey, geography, 85% of Western graduates are working in the field. And this is the average salary. They were really good, especially once I got into my major. And I'm sure my students know about this, is blowing up my email about a lot of different internships and job opportunities as well. So a lot of resources. And one thing I'll just kind of cap this off with, me personally, I think that a lot of schools have a lot of resources and that is great. But I think one thing that made us a little bit different is that I actually felt like the people genuinely cared about me and like my future, as opposed to just being there because they were forced to be there. So even some of the people who wrote my recommendations to get this job were my former teachers and stuff. And I know a lot of my students and some of y'all are in here now hit me up for like letters of rec and everything like that. And we're definitely like very genuine and authentic about holding people down throughout the whole experience and seeing y'all win as y'all move forward. You know what I mean? So appreciate y'all. Look at my stars are killing it. I love y'all so much. So I got another question, and this one's more chill. So I'm gonna give it to everybody. Is what are your favorite things to do around town? Places to eat, places to play, etc. How about Jalen?
Perfect. Yes. So I personally have just been recently going downtown and trying all these new restaurants. My favorite as of late, I know that this is like everyone has heard of this place once they move to Bellingham, but Mount Bakery has the best eggs Benedict. I have to shout that out. I recommend everyone to go try that whenever you find yourself in Bellingham. But there are also so many other yummy restaurants that we have and that you can explore down here. I know they have Korean fried corn dogs, which is like very rare. I know from experience growing up in a small town, and they are delicious. I definitely recommend checking that out. But places to kind of go to like chill or hang out with some friends. I love Teddy Bear Cove. Just setting up a hammock in that area. It's just a place along the water, like a rocky area with some pretty clear water to check out or just walk along the little coast area. But yeah, those are what I recommend checking out whenever you find yourself in Bellingham.
I would second, like, the restaurant scene is amazing up here in Bellingham. There's so many fun restaurants that I don't think I'd ever would have had the chance to try if I didn't come up here. But like Black Sheep has some amazing rockfish tacos, California tacos, which I recently discovered. It's more one of the Mexican restaurants. There's unfortunately not that many Mexican restaurants out here, but it is one of the better ones I've tried, and they have really good huaraches as well as carne asada fries. Even though I don't eat the meat part, I'll just ask for beans, which are really good. Avenue Bread or the Bagelry has amazing bagels and breads, so I would definitely check those out. But we also kind of like to explore with my roommates around, since, you know, trying to be COVID safe, especially right now. We tend to do things together. So like Chuckanut Drive, that's technically outside of Bellingham, but it's still very beautiful, and it's like right outside Bellingham. So if you're ever able to do that drive, I would highly recommend. But yeah, just walking around downtown, there's so many fun things to do. So many little vintage or antique or thrift stores, like Penny Lane Antiques, I think it's called, has so much to look at. I could spend hours in there. But yeah, definitely checking out downtown Bellingham and Fairhaven. Even though I haven't been in Fairhaven as much, they have a really good bookstore if you like to read. So Village Books, check that out if you want to as well.
There's so many good restaurants here. Like, I'm from Puyallup and we only have chain restaurants basically, so it was amazing. But Paimini's Russian dumplings, absolutely amazing. You have to go at least once. We also have a fish and chips double-decker bus. It's like a London bus, but the best fish and chips that you'll ever have in town. It's in Fairhaven. And then I also go to this shop called Third Planet a lot. They have a lot of really cool rocks. They sell incense sticks, 25 cents by the stick, which is really nice if you like incense like me. But other than that, exactly like everybody else said, just walking around Bellingham, you get to see so many cool shops. There's farmers markets open. And it's just gorgeous here. So yeah.
I almost worked at that double-decker bus. I applied there, but and I think I took a different job, but I almost worked there. It's a really cool place. In addition to all of those wonderful places, I highly recommend the Pickford Movie Theater, which is our local movie theater in town, downtown. I hope it's going to be safe enough to open up soon, but I remember sometimes we would have student nights there, and we would have like these like raffles, and all of the seats would be filled, and we'd get free ice cream, and it was just a really fun experience to share with your friends. In addition to that, there's a lot of let's see, at the moment, well, there's not a lot of concerts right now, but post-COVID or pre-COVID, we had a really great music scene going on, but there's a lot of people who still busk out in downtown in Fairhaven, and it's always really fun to go and watch them. And then if you or your friend has a car too, you can drive around maybe and go to like Skagit. Right now we have our Tulip and Daffodil Festival going on, where it's just like so many beautiful, beautiful fields of like just pure daffodils or just pure tulips that are just in full bloom, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But Bellingham itself is just such a fun area to explore between all of its beaches and natural areas, and then the downtown scene.
Absolutely. No, y'all definitely killed it. A lot of ways to get involved, a lot of stuff to do around our campus. I do want to be respectful of our time, but we do need to take the time out to say thank you to my stars. So blast them in the chat right now. Say thank you, compliment their curls, compliment their hoops, whatever you want to do. But just generally, Elizabeth and Sarah, Jalen, Madison, all my chat mods, everybody knows I'm a real one. I love y'all so much. It's just been so awesome working with y'all. I think that y'all really exemplify how authentic you can be at Western. We want people to be themselves. We don't want people to switch or code switch or feel uncomfortable. Come up here, do what you got to do, and definitely you're going to be super, super supported in that sense. That's the biggest thing that I want y'all to leave with. You could say what's up to me as well. I'm about to dip out, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my personal contact info as well. So if anybody has any questions or if y'all need any help, I'm definitely super happy to help y'all as y'all move forward. But again, thank you to all our panelists. Thank you for my students for joining us today. My name's Freddie C, and I'm out.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I hope you learned a lot of fun stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie, Elizabeth, Madison, Sarah, and Jalen. Thank you very, very much. Nate, where are you? Oh, there you are. What are you wearing now? You're muted. You're on mute. It's only been a year, dude. That's cool. Well, I'll tell you what I'm wearing while you figure out your technology. I am, this is actually a view from Excelsior Peak. This is a great hike out by Mount Baker. Got my water, got my backpack, got my trail mix. I got my Wacom hiking magazine or book. I got everything I need to go hiking. And it was a perfect segue actually, because, oh yeah, Shuckson. Shuckson's amazing. Well done. Shuckson is one of the most photographed mountains in the United States, and it is right here next to Mount Baker as well. So there's a lot of great places to explore in the greater Whatcom County area for sure. Freddie or Nate, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. What I'm wearing is it's kind of cool for me personally. When I was a freshman, this was the very first shirt I bought as a freshman during orientation. So I wanted to wear this just to show you guys. Also segue into what's behind me here. This is our historic Herald building in downtown Bellingham. And we have a tradition actually started by Mr. Roselli here. He organized this whole thing called Paint Beeham Blue for WWU. And that's when students gather in our red square, and then we walk downtown, and there's a huge party. Basically, there's a band, there's a DJ. We also light fireworks off of the Herald building, and it's an awesome good time. So super fun. You'll get to do that when we're in person, hopefully. Like I said, it's a great way of welcoming our new Vikings to the Bellingham community as well. Missed you guys too. I love it. The chat's funny. So yeah, great time. Some highlights of what we've talked about in this previous panel. One of the things that we talked about was dorm life. And I was thinking a lot about dorm life. I personally never got a chance to live in the dorms because I lived at home my freshman year. But Chris, did you live in the dorms freshman year? Or?
I did, and it was really great to hear what everybody had to say. One thing I will tell all of you who are listening is that no matter who you ask, if you say, what is the best residence hall to live in, the student is going to tell you the one that they lived in. If it is a suite, they're going to tell you suite living is the best to live in. If they lived in a hall kind of format, they're going to tell you the hall format is the best kind of format. I lived in Omega. I'll tell you right now, that's the best place to live because that's where I live. So.
Yeah, and it was cool too, Chris, to hear about everyone's dorm stories. We heard from a tour guide that had a heated blanket, and that was their highlight. We had people that liked suite styles and the hall styles, and there's just all kinds of great cool experiences you get in the dorm, and it's just cool to think about that. College, that's one of the biggest parts is that freshman year, developing that community, meeting people at the Paint Beeham Blue, and then being in the dorm for a whole year, interacting and stuff like that with folks. So it was really cool to hear those experiences.
And also, no matter where you end up living, students, whether it's your top choice for a residence hall or not your top choice, you're going to find people that you have something in common with. You're going to make friends. You're going to make connections. I promise you. So what's next, Nate?
Yeah. So what's next? I believe that we're going to move on into another session. Is that right, Chris?
We are. You've got a variety of different choices. So you can stay right here and you can learn about the next steps for admitted first-year students. That's basically everything you need to know between now and the time that you start in fall to get ready for Western. Or you can head back to the main page, and there's a variety of different options. There are, for 30 minutes, there's these 30-minute sessions. As a transfer student, you can check out next steps about being a transfer student. If you want to learn more about housing, about making Western your home and housing, you can do that. Financial aid basics, if you want to learn a little bit more about your financial aid package and what the award letter is all about. And finally, also, you can learn about the honors program, probably get a chance to meet our friends Scott and Kirsten and Kate as well. So the link to the website, can you throw that into the chat there?
Yeah, absolutely. I will do that. Hopefully my technology works here.
Our tech folks. It should have been emailed, I believe. Yep, there you go. Look at that.
It's already there. Great.
Sweet. All right, it's 2:00.
Sweet. We'll kick you guys off. We'll see you guys in probably about 25 minutes or so.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Well, I know this has been said before, but Chris and Nate are such a tough act to follow, but Rana and I will do our best. So as Chris and Nate said, this is the next steps for first year students. So there is another session happening right now with Jean and Leah, and that is next steps for transfer students. So you can go back to the main page if you would like to do that. This session is being recorded, so if you miss parts of this, you can always come back and rewatch it. And if there's another session you want to attend right now, Rana and I are actually doing another one of these in 30 minutes back to back. So we'll be back at 2:30 to do that. So just a couple of quick housekeeping items there, but we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. So my name is Grace Jones. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Associate Director of Admissions here at Western. I got my bachelor's and my master's at Western and came back to work here. So just like several folks, never left. It's a great place to study and work. Bellingham's an amazing place to live. It is a gorgeous day in Bellingham today, as I'm sure it is for most of you along the I-5 corridor and maybe even around the state. So we wish we were welcoming you here in person, but it is the next best thing to be able to be here with you virtually and serve so many folks from across the world. I was noticing in the chat this morning, people were saying Germany and all these places around the world. So it's fantastic to be able to serve so many folks from across the US and the world, which we wouldn't be able to do if we were in person. So Rana, I'll kick it over to you and we'll get started.
Great, thanks, Grace. Hi, everyone. My name is Rana Biggs, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am the program director for the New Student Services and Family Outreach Office. Fun fact, I come from the hometown of Oysterville, Washington. If anybody knows where Oysterville is, give a little shout out. That's great. And if not, that's okay, because it's kind of hard to find. And second fun fact, if Chris Roselli is still listening, I am older than Chris Roselli even. But I am also a Western alum. I did my undergraduate at I did my undergraduate work at Western and just had a wonderful, amazing time. I lived in, where did I live? I lived in Nash Hall for a couple of years. And then I lived in, actually I lived in Nash Hall for 3 years. And then I lived up in Beta Hall and it was great. And a number of years later, I came back around. And when I started to work at Western professionally, I was a residence hall director for a few years and lived in the Edens-Higginson community as well as the Mathis community. And there's some amazing options for housing on campus. And I just think explore and look around. So happy to be here. And Grace, should I do a share the screen and get our slides up there? So we'll get that going. Excellent. I'm going to do a little quick share and we'll get started.
So I will kick it off here. I've got a couple of quick admission slides, and then Rana is going to use the majority of the time to talk about fall advising, registration, and orientation, because that is the bulk of really what the next steps are. So your next steps are fairly simple, and you've heard it so many times today. Finalize your decision. So if you like what you see today and you've done research on Western and you're excited to be a Viking coming this September, accept your admission offer and do that by May 1st. You can do that today as well, as everyone has let you know. And I keep seeing in the chat, so many people have been confirming today already, which is fantastic. May 1st is that deadline, but you've got some time to think about that if you haven't decided yet. So second one here is get to know us better. So join the new Western New Students Facebook group for 2021. Every year we have this conversation of, should we have a Facebook group again? Do students really use Facebook? No, their parents are using Facebook. And every year we're blown away by the fact that every single student loves that Facebook group and uses it. So definitely join that. You'll get an invitation for that a little bit later. And then you can check off this one, come to Admitted Student Day. You are doing that. You're actually almost done with it. Another hour or so, and you'll be able to check that off and have so much great information. And then watching the mail. So we'll be sending you additional information once you've confirmed to get you excited about Western. That'll be things like housing information and campus life, things like that. And that'll come both via email and snail mail. And then planning your finances. So you should have received your scholarship and financial aid packages by now. So you just want to review what tuition and expenses are going to be and go and accept that financial aid award offer in your Web4U account here in the next little while. A couple of other quick things, and you can find, I put that website at the bottom of the PowerPoint there. For more information, you'll be able to find your new student checklist and things like that. Also in your new student portal. And so you'll want to claim your universal account. And so you can do that. You got an email about that, or if you haven't already, that's where you claim your universal account, and you'll be able to look in your portal at your new student checklist, and that's personalized to you. So you can go on there and say, oh, okay, I haven't signed up for advising and registration yet. I haven't gotten my measles immunization, but I have applied for housing, and it's really, really user-friendly. So that's definitely something to do as well. And then housing, that's a really big one. We've talked a lot about that today. Housing deadline is May 1st as well. So living on campus is optional your first year, but we do see more than 90% of our first year students that are living on campus in their first year. So you are in good company if that is what you are deciding to do. If not, there's an off-campus housing webpage. Julia Burns heads that up, and she is fantastic. She can help you find off-campus housing in the surrounding apartments around campus, get you connected that way. But about 90% of our students do want to live on campus. So May 1st, that's another deadline you're going to want to remember. Just keep that one in the back of your mind. And the interesting thing about housing is that the priority is actually linked to your priority application for admission, not for housing. So you might think, oh, I applied for housing way back in February. I'm going to get the best shot at the room I want and the roommate I want. It's actually linked to your application for admission. So someone who applied early action, let's say on November 1st, is going to get better priority housing than someone who waited until the deadline to apply for housing. So if you applied early for admission, then you are going to be highly sought after by roommates because they are going to want to be your roommate. And if you applied late, then just make sure you find someone who applied earlier for housing, and you'll get a little bit better shot at the res hall that you want. Speaking of, you can virtually tour the res halls online. There's a link at the bottom of the PowerPoint here, housing.ww.edu. You'll be able to see 360 views of rooms, virtual videos of each residence hall, breakdowns of what each one has, if they have suites or kitchens or what have you. All that information is on there if you haven't got a chance to visit with the housing folks yet today. And then you'll want to connect with potential roommates using Western's My Roommate tool. So lots of great ways to connect with a roommate. Of course, if you're coming from high school and you've got a high school bud you want to room with, you can do that. Or you can look up a roommate kind of in a match.com sort of format where you tell us your interests and when you like to go to bed and that kind of stuff, and we'll match you with someone, or we can do it randomly. So. Okay, I'm going to pass it off to Rana to talk about really the nitty gritty of how you're going to get your classes this fall.
Thanks, Grace. We talked a little bit about this during the opening Q&A panel. Megan Bryson, who is with Academic Advising, and I made some references to fall orientation, advising, and registration, also known as Fall OR. And there's a set of programs that are happening, and this really will help you get to that place of understanding what's happening. If you had some experience with students previously, maybe some friends or family who had come to campus, you might have been familiar with kind of this, you sign up for one day and all of these presentations are happening, registration, advising. It was a pretty large event that was happening. One of the elements that came from our experience with moving to virtual last summer was finding that students and parents and family members gave us really good feedback that they really like to have the orientation materials as early as possible. Those kinds of resources that would give overviews of campus services and departments, academic departments, majors and minors, that being able to have some time to digest that information at each person's own pace was really helpful. And for those folks that felt like they couldn't sign up for some session that wouldn't happen until late August, that feels like a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. So we've separated those things out a little bit more. So you'll hear us talk about these kind of components as we move forward. So there's fall advising and registration sessions, which is a very specific date. It's still that similar concept, a very specific date where new students will sign up to attend an advising and registration session. There's orientation programming that runs across the calendar, isn't necessarily tied to those dates, but there's different live events that are happening, and we're curating a really nice library of resources that both students and family members can watch at their own time and pace. And then we give you some additional steps to guide some of that preparation, really similar to some things that Grace was just talking about that we'll look over as well. So that's some of the first pieces, is to get to know the lingo a little bit. So you'll hear about fall OR programs. On the New Student Services Family Outreach page, which is the office that I work for, we work directly with the Academic Advising Center and the Registrar's Office in order to coordinate these elements for advising and registration. And at the bottom of the screen, as Grace noted in the other slides, there's a Welcome New Students website that we've put there. And that would be one that I would recommend going to and just becoming familiar with. The folks who are at this Admitted Student Day program, you get a little bit of that inside scoop early on, because we're in the process of updating some of our website information. And so you're going to get on the front end of getting those bookmarks and your focus in those areas set up. So for a new student, this is really what you're going to see first. You're going to see that there's kind of a next 1, 2, 3-step process for getting your orientation, advising, and registration going. On June 7th, that's going to be a magical date. June 7th is when we're going to open up reservations for advising and registration sessions. So if you're a new student, you're really going to be looking at fall quarter. So you can click right onto fall quarter, and that's going to take you where you need to go. It's going to show you all the dates for first year students. And again, first year means what people may consider traditionally as a freshman student, also includes running start students. So if you're a first year student, you're going to see what dates are going to be available and the parameters around some of those things. The first few sessions are for high credit students, which means if you're coming into Western with 45 or more transferable credits, then there's some high credit session dates that are early on. Megan Bryson in Academic Advising talked earlier about some different advising groups that will be available to sign up for. So you'll really get connected through those dates. As Grace talked about the student portal, it's a link right into your student portal, and it will help you sign up for one of those dates. The next part is connecting to orientation activities and resources, which are going to be a little bit more the informational resource piece about campus and student life. So if you're looking for a presentation about the Student Business Office, how do I pay my tuition? Where do I go to learn more about that? I'm thinking about majoring in art and art history, and we can see if we've got an academic department that's shared a little bit more about that major. We curate a video resource library that you'll be able to go through and get more information about campus departments, academic departments, and services, as well as lots of links to connect over to certain offices. So that orientation website, and again, that's also for new students and families. So there'll be some resources that may be particular for parents and families, some particular for students, and most all of it is actually open to everyone to take a look at your own time. And then the third part is a preparation, preparing for WW, and there'll be some additional specifics along that. And I've got a slide in just a couple of minutes that'll tell a little bit more about that. One of the biggest questions that we often get is, what happens at advising and registration? And it really is literally what it means. There's a one-day session that as you sign up for that particular date, you'll get a schedule for that day. Generally speaking, there's a check-in in the morning. There's a small group academic advising session that happens for most of the morning. So you'll be with a small group of other new students. You'll be with faculty and staff academic advisors, as well as trained student academic advisors. And they'll give you an overview of how to navigate Western's tools, how to think about building a class schedule. You can ask questions of those folks if you're not sure how to do that. And then there's a little bit of time during the midday that if you're someone who needs to reach out to an academic department or make a connection, you'll have some time to do that. And then during the afternoon, each student is assigned a very specific registration time. And so then you're having an individual experience, and you go back and connect with those faculty and staff academic advisors, and they'll help you through the actual registration process. And if you find, a common thing might be just feeling a little nervous about how to navigate the actual process of going online to do that, it's great. You've got a faculty or staff person who can help guide you through that process. If you're in the process of registering and there's a class that's full and you're not sure what else to take, they're there to help you find a second choice or another option for that. So you get a lot of support throughout the day, both from that small group and that individual context. And then for orientation, there'll be some live events, kind of a little bit similar to what this Admitted Student Day program is. There'll be some live webinars and events that campus departments are doing, opportunities to connect with other students. We find that often new students just have some really specific questions, and sometimes they just want to talk to one other new student. So some of our orientation student advisors will be available to answer questions where you could sign up for an appointment time if that's helpful. Sometimes we'll do just some open chats and Q&As. Sometimes we'll do some themed conversations about cool study spots on campus, fun eats out in Bellingham, just how to prepare and how to think about campus a little bit differently. And then of course, the video resource library is something that we're continuing to build that is helpful and open to both. And on this particular screen in the lower right, there's a separate website address, particularly for the orientation page. And some of the orientation page still has last year's information on it. And so we're updating it over the next couple of months, but we wanted to leave that page live so you have a place that you can go back to and just kind of get a flavor and a feel for how to navigate a little bit more. And again, whatever we have for orientation offerings and events, we'll also open up that website on June 7th. And then with orientation, I also expect that we're going to be adding some events and resources throughout the summer too, and we'll keep folks up to date with that. I also want to note that with New Student Services and Family Outreach, the Family Outreach component of our office is really significant for us. And we also host the Fall Family Weekend that happens in October this year, October 15th through the 17th. But we do have quite a number of resources that we're building for parents and family members. And for us, the definition of family is very broadly defined, as we know it may be for any person. So as you look through these resources, we recommend for parents and family members, get connected with this particular website. And as you scroll through that page, there's some information that's very specific for parents and family members, opportunities to make appointments with our family outreach manager, Lisa Molschler, who would be able to have different conversations or is hosting some small group opportunities throughout the summer, ways to connect to things like the Western Today announcements, getting connected to our monthly Family Connection newsletter that comes out monthly, all sorts of good information on there. And I want to make sure that that gets highlighted because that's a unique resource, particularly for parents and family members. And then this is that third step. This gives you a little bit of what that website will be off of our Welcome New Students page. So as you start to prepare for Western, I'll just support everything that Grace was talking about before. There are certain things that you absolutely will need to have done prior to your registration at your summer session. So for registration, you do need to have your proof of measles immunization submitted with the Student Health Center. And that's something that you can take care of now, long before you even know what your date is. So you don't need to know your date in order to get that taken care of. And the Student Health Center has a process that they have on their website that will walk you through that. And you can also click through our website to link over there. The second one required for registration is that claiming your universal account, getting your account password set up, because that's how you'll be accessing a lot of information for registration, as well as we want you to get connected to your Western email account as official communications come through. There's links. During the Q&A, you might have heard Megan talk about the math placement assessment, so we can help you get connected over there, submitting your transcripts, all that kind of good stuff that gets you set up in the next bit. So again, that Welcome New Students page has kind of that 1, 2, 3, and if you can follow those steps through there, it'll get you linked to where you need to go. And again, we're anticipating opening up reservations for fall advising registration as well as orientation events on Monday, June 7th. I'll pass it to Grace.
Thank you so much, Rana, for that really detailed info. Congratulations, everyone, on your admission to Western. We're so excited that you are thinking about Western, if you haven't confirmed already, and sometimes it's just those little details and knowing that information that helps just kind of smooth the process over the next few months. So we've got about 4 minutes before we need to turn it over to Nate and Chris. So Rana, there was a couple questions in the chat that I wanted to ask you. Someone asked, how is advising and registration different for Fairhaven students? And then maybe even just kind of broadening that out to how is it different for each student in each major or college?
That's a really good question. So process-wise, when any new student goes through that advising and registration portal, essentially to sign up for a time or a date, depending on some characteristics about your student type, you will be presented with certain choices. So for Fairhaven students, if you've been admitted to Fairhaven College, we're going to know that you need to specifically get connected to Fairhaven College. So when you go to sign up for a particular advising registration date, we will have worked that out with the advisors from Fairhaven College. So there will be a Fairhaven College advising group, and that will be your selection, and you'll be able to get connected directly into that Fairhaven college group. So, and the same would be true for honors as well as music, because those are programs where there needs to be a separate admittance process to those programs or the college. So we'll get you funneled in that way based on your student type, and you don't need to worry about that. Generally speaking, you know, Megan talked about there's different advising groups. Like when you go in, you'll see some advising groups like math science engineering or social sciences. There's even an undecided group. And that does not, we've had students that have panicked that had said, oh my goodness, I chose math science and engineering. I don't know that I want to major in any of that. It's like, that's okay, don't panic. It just really helps you kind of get a general focus area. So if you do have a sense that you want to go into sociology or psychology, maybe you want to click into one of the social sciences groups, or humanities or math, science, engineering, business and economics. So if you find that you have a general area that you're thinking about, some of the faculty and staff advisors, and sometimes even the student advisors, they might have a little bit more experience in those areas, or if they're a faculty member, they might actually be teaching in one of those areas. So they may just have a little bit more information. Generally speaking, all of the sessions are presenting the same information, because the process for advising and the process for registering for classes is the same for every student. So you're not going to miss out if you're in the humanities group and think, I wonder what social sciences is talking about. Probably the same thing. So it's really consistent in that way. It just may be a little bit more specialized. That's a great question.
All right, I just saw one more come through the chat here about submitting a housing application, but didn't find a place to pay the $200 deposit. How do I do that? And I'm looking up on my phone, and honestly, I don't know the answer to that. And I'm wondering if maybe Nate does, because I believe that you have some time, and I believe you do that in your housing portal, but I'm not sure. And I know, Ron, I don't know if you know that either.
I don't know off the top of my head.
So I believe your housing deposit is securing your spot. So if you didn't see a place for it, that's okay, because you'll probably pay that once you're notified that you have your housing. So don't be too scared if you don't see that. The $300 confirmation for enrollment is what you need to pay by May 1, and that's what you need to do at the same time that you confirm. But the housing one most likely comes a little bit later. Okay, thank you all so much for listening. Rana and I actually are doing another one of these sessions that's going to be a little more informal. It'll be a Zoom meeting, so you'll be able to have your cameras on and chat with us. So if you want to join that, you can pop over to the main page and do that. But otherwise, we are going to turn it back over to Nate and Chris.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Rana and Grace, thank you so much. Cap and gown. Wearing the cap and gown. Students, this will be the moment that you get an opportunity to wear your cap and gown. Look at, whoa, you are like at commencement, Nate Gaines. Look at that. Awesome. Pre-COVID, obviously.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, one of the cool things about going to college is that graduation day will come. And for sometimes it seems like it's forever, but in some instances it's really quick. And for my instances, I felt like I just started school, a couple weeks ago. So this is what commencement normally looks like before COVID. We all pack in the Carver gym, and there's all kinds of cool traditions. You'll get to walk the pathway to Old Main, put your memorabilia stuff in front of the president, and then we have the bagpipes, and everyone goes to the Carver gym, and it's a very, very cool experience. So, and what's behind you, Chris? What's going on there? Is that Boulevard Park?
Yeah, Boulevard Park. Many people after commencement will go to Boulevard Park. In the springtime, this park, I can't imagine what this park looks like today. Actually, it's probably packed.
Yeah,
beautiful. It's about a 15-minute walk from campus. Actually, you can just take some trails straight on down from the north end of campus. And it's a beautiful waterfront park with a coffee shop and plenty of places to lay out and relax and watch the sunset. So
yeah, super cool. And then, yeah, like a day like today, I mean, it's 70 degrees, sunny skies here in Bellingham. It looks just like what's behind Chris. And so you'll find a lot of students out there throwing a Frisbee, playing games with roommates, and it's always flooded with college kids, which is a great time. We have had picnics down there as well. The sunset, I remember I watched the sunset once, and there was a boat that went across the bay, and there was a little dog in the boat, and then it was just a picture. It was the best picture in the whole world. So Bellingham is full of places where you can take pictures, and it's just, everything looks like it's out of a magazine. Wouldn't you agree, Chris?
It's a beautiful place to go to school. It's a great community. Play a little game with you, Mr. Gaines. So
yeah.
Would you rather?
Okay, great.
Would you rather hammock in Boulevard Park right here, background, or would you rather go snowshoe at Mount Baker in the spring?
Oh my gosh. I would say I would probably, that's such a good question. I would love to just hammock in Boulevard Park, really, because I love to people watch. I love to just, I think people are so interesting. So I would sit there and, enjoy the breeze in Boulevard Park and just hang out and have a great time. How about you, Chris? Where would you rather go? The snowshoeing is awesome too.
I'm in. I love Baker, but that's a lot of work. So I think I'd rather just hammock in Boulevard Park too.
Yeah, a lot of work.
All right. Would you rather eat a LaFine's donut or have a palmini dumpling?
Oh, I would say palminis. I'm a huge palminis fan. I mean, right there on State Street, you can't beat it. It's open till, I want to say, midnight, 1 a.m. sometimes, and it's the best food you could possibly think of. And it's right there in the heart of Bellingham as well. So another place that's flooded with college kids. I mean, it's like the number one spot. We'll be hanging out and everyone looks at each other and goes, palminis, and we'll all just run downtown and grab some palminis, and it is the spot. That spot, and AB Crepes is also another great spot as well in Bellingham.
All right, I got another one for you. Would you rather sit in the sun on the fountain in Red Square? Would you rather take a walk through the Arboretum, which that is the Arboretum, actually. That's part of the Arboretum right there.
Look at that. That was great, Chris. That was a cool transition. All right. Yeah, I would actually like to sit in the fountain. As I said, I like to people watch, and I love being on a sunny day in Red Square. We have a fountain in Red Square. If you guys have done some virtual tour options here today, you'll be able to see that. And it's Fisher Fountain. It's named after one of our long-serving presidents from way in the, I'm a history buff too. So I believe he was the president back in the early 1900s. I think he was the second or third president, which is super cool. And they named the fountain after him. Very cool fountain. It's also tradition. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, Chris, but it's also tradition to jump in the fountain before you graduate as well. So, but you didn't hear it from me, but
even if it's not, you just made one, man.
But yeah, it's a super, super cool thing to do also.
Right on. All right. Would you rather catch a Seahawk game 90 minutes away in Seattle or eat North America's best sushi an hour away in Vancouver, BC?
Oh, Seahawks game. Come on, Chris. I mean, that's a dream there. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah. And what's going on behind you there? That looks like you're on the way out in the county area.
Yeah, it's down in the county. For folks who may not be familiar with Whatcom County, we've got the county's beautiful. And we actually are one of the largest producers of raspberries and blueberries in the United States. So even though Bellingham is a city of almost 100,000 people, you only drive 15 minutes away and you're in this beautiful farmland where we've got great farmers who are doing a lot to provide really great produce for people all throughout the world, which is really great too. So
yeah, super cool.
for sure. So
yeah, I love I love driving out there. Sometimes we'll go out to Linden there during the fall time. There's a maze out there as well, and you can kind of go through and kind of do some fall things. There's also a couple pumpkin patches out there, and you'll find a lot of students going out there with their roommates or something and taking those pictures in the fall. So always a great time. That's one of the things I love about Bellingham, is the fact that you can, you know, everywhere is only about 10 to 15 minutes away. And I always complain that I have to go across town when it's only 10 to 15 minutes. And so it's really cool that it's big, but it's also, you know, small enough where you can get anywhere you want real quickly. I live here in the Fairhaven district in Happy Valley, and I've got downtown Fairhaven's right there. Campus is a 10-minute walk. Downtown Bellingham is about a 5 to 10-minute drive. So super, super awesome. And everything's just right here. It's great. So
that's right. That's right. And Caleb had mentioned, is there a farmer's market? We have one of the state's largest farmer's markets actually right here in Bellingham.
Mm-hmm. Caleb says farmers markets go off. Absolutely. It's right there in Bellingham. You can, I mean, there's so many cool things you can eat. There's all kinds of art and crafts things. I love to eat, so I go there mostly for the food. But yeah, it's a really, really good time. So really fun. And I also want to encourage people too, to upload your pictures onto our photo booth online. We have some great options there. We like to see your faces, shining faces here. So feel free to upload those pictures. Really easy. Just scan the barcode on your phone, and then you'll be able to be on our website, which is super awesome. I keep saying awesome a lot, but it is awesome.
It's awesome. All right, quiz time for you, Nate.
Cool.
What is your favorite park in Bellingham?
Favorite park?
Yes.
Oh,
we got more parks per capita than any other city in Washington.
Yeah, that and breweries as well. There's a lot of places to eat, and for the parents out there, sorry. But yeah, absolutely. My favorite park is, we've been talking about Boulevard a lot, so I'm gonna pick something other than Boulevard. I'm gonna say Fairhaven Park. We have a huge park. We're a big grassy field. We'll go there to, you know, play Frisbee or just hang out. I also have a really cool gazebo there as well. So if you ever wanted to get a couple friends or have a club meeting or something out there at Fairhaven Park, feel free to do that. And it's only about I would say 2 minutes away from campus. So it's really, really cool. So that's my favorite park. How about you, Roselli? What's your favorite?
Yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's Whatcom Falls Park. It's an oasis in the middle of Bellingham. It's probably a 5-minute drive from downtown. Beautiful waterfalls. It's just a respite away. So it's a great spot for students who are feeling stressed and you just need kind of a place to relax. I saw a question. What are some good swimming spots? Actually, in Whatcom Falls Park, there's a great swimming hole there as well where there's waterfalls. And then I don't know how many people go swimming in the bay. The ocean's pretty cold.
Yeah, we jump in. What we do is we go to Boulevard, the boardwalk.
Oh yeah, right.
Jump off the boardwalk, and there was actually a tour guide and he actually partnered with my roommate, and they decided to jump off the boulevard once every month. So even in December and January and February, they jumped off the boulevard. So it's kind of like a cool Western thing to do as well as jump off the boulevard, jump off the boardwalk into the water there. And also going down to Clayton Beach too, Mr. Roselli. That's also a great place. It's sandy, great place to have fires and just hang out with friends and enjoy the sunsets. Bellingham has the best sunsets. I mean, I could go all day, you know, but yeah, if there was a tour, I wish there was like a bus that went around Bellingham. Roselli, I feel like you and I could be doing like a little side job there.
Like a business opportunity.
Yeah. Right over here, we have the Herald Building, and right up on the hill is Western. Yeah, that'd be so much fun. Oh my gosh, yeah. Getting excited thinking about that. Maybe that's a cool idea for, you know, sometime later on the road.
All right, so what is next? What we've got next for everybody is we've got a variety of different options for all of you. The first one is that really there's 3 more info sessions that you can pick from. There are repeats of today's events that we've had, but if you haven't had a chance to hit certain ones because you're attending another one, you can do that now. So of course you can stay right here to learn all about living on campus again. So if you still have questions about living on campus and housing, I know there were some questions about paying a deposit for housing. I'm sure they'll be able to answer that question there. You can also join another info session. There's one on next steps for admitted first-year students. So again, about next steps for you. There's one about the financial aid process. You can do that. And then, of course, all of the 7 colleges are also doing drop-in chat sessions right now. So you can do that, and also honors. So any of the academic components, you can check out that as well. You just head back to the main page. You can see all those options, pick the one you want to attend, and jump right into the Zoom. All right.
Great.
Anything else, buddy?
I think that's it. I think we will see everybody back here at 3 o'clock. We're around that time to send you off and give you some last minute reminders and close out this awesome day.
Right on. Sounds
Great.
good. We'll see y'all soon.
Cool.
Vicky. Okay. Oh, there you are. Hey, Vicky. Liam. Karen Walker, I bet you're coming on. Oh, Leonard Jones. Hey, the housing crew. By the way, students, I'm just going to tell all of you right now, Western's housing crew is fantastic. You're in the best hands right here. So, all right, we'll hand it on over. Take care.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Leonard Jones. I'm the director of University Residences, also known as campus housing here at Western Washington University. And I'm going to briefly introduce my colleagues, Vicki Vanderwerf, the Associate Director for Residence Life, and Karen Walker, the Associate Director for Occupancy, Communications, and Administrative Services. For students and parents, after 17, 18 years of living at home, living with your folks, it's quite a different change you're contemplating for yourself, quite a different change for your parents as well. Them used to kind of having you around for 17, 18 years. And now that's right upon happening real soon here. So I wanted to start off just letting you know, particularly for the parents that are out there, just letting you know that we are a partner, Vicki, myself, and Karen. We are a partner in helping your student navigate the university and its resources and being supportive of the growth that your student will make to successfully not only live on campus and meet friends and feel like they belong, but also just, to grow in ways that they can't even contemplate right now. Part of the partner experience, parents, that we bring in helping create systems, housing systems, living systems that are successful for students is among Vicki and Karen and myself. We have over 70 years of experience, 70 years of campus college housing experience. We have assigned hundreds of thousands of students in those 70 years. We've done it in 8 states, North Carolina, New York, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Michigan, Missouri, Colorado, and of course, Washington State. So we have the experience and we care deeply about the success of students that live on campus with us. So I will ask now Vicki and Karen to share a little bit about the resources and the values that we have that operate as we and our other colleagues go about doing the work of creating these successful living environments. Vicki?
Thanks, Leonard. So we want to share a little bit about what's on our agenda for today. So we're going to talk with you about our mission, some of the reasons to live on campus. We'll tell you a little bit about each of our housing communities as well as dining. We'll talk about room and board pricing, important topic, our timeline, and also give you our contact information as well. So the presentation today is not focused on COVID-19. However, we know that there's probably a lot of questions out there around how on-campus housing is operating and navigating through the pandemic. So provide a little bit of information. We are planning for increased occupancy next year. So planning for more students to live on campus as conditions improve throughout the pandemic. We're planning on offering doubles, some triple rooms, singles as well for students who want to live alone next year. Overall, though, we're going to have a lot of flexibility in room space and options. So hopefully we're able to accommodate any need that you have as a student. All of our decisions are really driven by safety. That's a really core piece of our work. We really operate through guidelines from the American College Health Association as well as the CDC, also governor's guidelines throughout the state of Washington to make sure all of our decisions are really focused on the safety of our students. And we know you may have a lot of questions around COVID-19, so we have a housing webinar coming up on Wednesday, April 28th. I encourage you to check that out. You'll receive information from us. Also, we have a lot of COVID-19 information on our website you can check out as well with some specific questions. So when we think about our mission and vision for university residences, living on campus is not a requirement at Western. We really want on-campus housing to be a place that's more than a place to eat and sleep. It's really about social connections, educational opportunities, and a place to get connected here on campus. In terms of our mission, we really seek to provide an experience of something different than living off campus. That includes education on life skills like managing conflict, identifying resources available, how to access those resources, taking care of your physical health, your mental health, and then some of those basic skills as well, like laundry and healthy eating. We do a lot of that through some increased support through our staffing. We have mechanisms to identify when a student is struggling, when they're not connecting here at Western, maybe they're not getting along with their roommate, or experiencing a challenging situation in class or out of class. So we're here to help and provide resources along the way. We have a lot of connection to campus resources and partner with a lot of offices on campus, such as the Counseling Center, Academic Advising, Career Services, and others. It can be really overwhelming, especially to our first year students, to know everything that's available on campus and how to get connected and how to access those resources. So we're really here to help with that. And then lastly, I would say another big part of our mission is around access to those resources and access to places like the library, study spaces on campus, clubs and organizations, events, and campus offices right here on campus at Western.
So just sort of to go over those main reasons we think living on campus is important one more time. Safety is a huge thing. We have secured building access. We have university police 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have green coat escort service if you need it. We have RAs who do nightly rounds, and our resident directors live in the buildings. So it's really a community, and the safety's awesome. The convenience we've talked about already. You can do almost anything you need to do, laundry, get a snack, meet with friends within your building, but you're also very close to the library or the rec center or walking up on Seaholm Hill. So it's really a convenient access of like 2 minutes to get to things. We also try to support your academic success, and we do collaborative work in study spaces. We have academic advising folks come to the buildings, and we also collaborate with that team. Tutorial centers nearby, and there's advising, there's professors' offices, so there's everything that you need to help you stay academically successful while you're here. Personal growth happens, of course. This first year is a big one. You'll meet lots of friends, and what's really great is our staff can help when there's any issues you have and give some direction and guidance. There's great leadership opportunities in our buildings, the National Residence Hall Honorary and floors. They elect folks, and then there's a president for each building. And so if you're interested in that kind of thing, there are really a lot of opportunities. We also have so many trained and talented staff, so many student job opportunities, by the way. So dining services, resident advisors, technology, info desk, we've got front desk services. So there's lots of student jobs available if one is interested in that as well. Finally, just the statistics of of knowing how important it is to live on campus. About 90% of freshmen choose to live on campus during their first year, and it is the most important indicator on whether or not you will retain to year 2. So we're really proud of that. And then we're also happy to report that 97% of our students recommend living on your first year when you come. So that's pretty cool.
And we really want to make sure students are having a positive on-campus experience. We regularly offer ways for students to give us feedback about their living experience, what types of programs, events they want to see in the halls, both the educational and social aspect to that, as well as just their overall satisfaction and experience here living on campus. Students tell us that they feel safe. That's physical safety, in addition to building skills such as engaging in conflict and ensuring all student identities and backgrounds are represented and celebrated. And then one of the biggest reasons to live on campus, like Karen mentioned, and what students tell us, is those personal connections that they make from move-in throughout the entire academic year. So this next slide is feedback from an annual survey that we do each year. So the top 3 reasons students tell us they attend programs and events are to meet new people, for learning, and then the free food always helps as well. So we really emphasize the importance of getting involved on campus and meeting new people. So we offer a lot of social events like trivia nights, open mic nights, floor and hall socials to meet others in the building and engage in activities on campus for connection. We also offer a lot of educational events. So we bring in academic advising, like Karen mentioned, to have students think about what to know when registering for classes. We do job fairs, talk about how to seek a job on campus, share information about how to get connected through our hall councils, which is similar to student government from high school, where they help plan hall events, advocate for what the students want to see in the building or changes in the building. We even bring in off-campus housing towards the end of the academic year to share information to know when signing a lease for the first time when students start looking for off-campus housing. We also want to talk a little bit about each of our housing communities. We have traditional hallway style rooms where there's a lot of rooms on one floor with a lot of people to meet. In those hallway style buildings, the community bathrooms are just down the hall on each floor. So you'll see a lot of those on North Campus in Mathis and Nash halls, as well as on the Ridgeway. Sigma Alpha Delta Omega has a lot of those traditional style rooms. We also have suite style, where you get to know your suite mates, usually 4 to 10 people. You get to know them really well. And usually, in general, you share one bathroom amongst the suite mates. Typically, 2 people share a bathroom. So those rooms are in Fairhaven, Buchanan Towers, as well as some of our other buildings. So to give you a sense of kind of what each area is known for, South Campus is close to the rec center, Fairhaven Dining Hall, close to a lot of classes. Buchanan Towers offers rooms for our returning students. A lot of our returning students choose to live there. There's kitchens and shared space. And then Burnham Wood is reserved for returning students, sophomore and above, their apartment style. Fairhaven has really strong communities that are formed in stack style buildings with about 50 students in each building. Get to know those students really well. On North Campus, Viking Union is close by, is close to campus offices and resources, the library, a lot of sit down and to go eating options. Oftentimes on North Campus, these halls form very strong communities where students really get connected, get to know each other, really strong hall councils, and have those traditional style rooms. And then on the Ridge, we've noticed that a lot of students will identify with living on the Ridge versus an individual building on the Ridge. And I think a lot of that comes from the community space, is the dining hall that everybody shares, a lot of events and interactions happening on the Ridge. It's also the home next year of Alma Clark Glass, our brand new residence hall opening in the fall.
So we're going to zero in on your room. This is a really cool picture. This was every few years we do a contest for, photo shoot of your room, and then there's a prize. And these were 2 students that met in our roommate manager and then decided, let's bring lights. And it's just such a warm room, and it gives you a really great idea of what is in your room and also how you can make it feel like home when you're there. Things students really care about knowing are that the mattresses are extra long. Pillow toppers can be helpful. Extra long sheets are recommended. And the beds adjust up and down, so you can store things or put little chest of drawers under there if you want to, or if you want your feet on the ground, you can have that bed down low as well. Then when we step outside of your room and go down the hall, there's an area desk, there's laundry, there's a computer lab, there's lounges, there's game rooms, bike storage, parking, and desk services are open like from 2 to 9 every night. So you can go down there, get your mail and packages, and also see posters about what's happening or ask questions. So it's really convenient.
So on-campus housing really focuses on student learning outside the classroom. We have master's level resident directors in each community. They live and work in the building. It's a full-time staff member to really be a resource for the students living in that community. Another piece of their role is to educate students on life skills needed as a student here at Western, and then also those skills after graduation, and help students get connected to Western and really find their purpose, their passion, and their place here. Some of the three main learning goals that we have are inclusive community building, career preparedness, and personal wellness. So inclusive community building, we really focus on connection with others, involvement on campus, finding connection points across campus outside of class. Also focuses on identity and lived experience and how one's identity influences their life and influences their interactions with others. Career preparedness is really about that end goal of graduation and getting a job. So we focus on some of those skill building tools, resume and cover letter writing workshops, internships, job opportunities, but also some of those other important skills like how to express thoughts and ideas where others will hear you, managing class and work, involvement opportunities and a social life, and how to do all of that together, and how to live independently with some additional help from our staff. Personal wellness is another core area that we focus on in terms of mental health, physical health, emotional health. We recently started a podcast, and one of those last episodes was how to navigate life during a pandemic, how to ask for help and seek resources on campus that are available to students, and really identifying skills that students need to be successful here in college. So a lot of this happens around one-on-one interactions with your resident advisor, our resident director staff, as well as floor programming and events and activities that students can attend while they live on campus. We also have some theme community opportunity, which provides students to live in a smaller community with students of a shared identity or shared interest within that larger building community environment. So we have Black Affinity Housing. It's brand new for next fall, new program for us. It's a space designed for Black identified students to live in community with those of a shared identity. It really offers increased connection to Black faculty and staff on campus, and really has the goal of furthering connecting students to resources on campus. We have Pride Housing, which is a space designed for LGBTQ plus students. We work in partnership with Western's LGBTQ plus director and others on campus to really create a welcoming, inclusive space for students who want to live within this community. Both Pride Housing and Black Affinity Housing will be in our new residence hall next year, Alma Clark Glass Hall. We also have Viking Launch, which is an early arrival program where students have the opportunity to move in early. It's designed for first-year students to really get a strong, focused start to college, where they can take classes with each other and really build connections with faculty and staff and other students early on. These programs will be in Fairhaven and Kappa Halls next year. And then we also have Honors, which is housed in Eden's Hall and offers small class sizes and a community cohort experience to connect students to Western, provide students the opportunity to engage in thoughtful discussion, and really provides meaningful interactions with faculty in the Honors program. We also have some personal room choices. These include gender neutral housing for students wanting a room assignment that's not based on gender. We have substance free housing, which are areas on campus that promote a lifestyle free of alcohol, marijuana, and other substances. We have international areas. A lot of times our international students will choose spaces with kitchens to cook. And we also have opportunities for international students to live together or be placed with domestic roommates here from the US.
Okay, I'm going to try to keep us on time here, Vicki. So here we go. Roommate options are really well explained on our website, but basically we have roommate manager. And once you have your application filled out and submitted, you can go in there and use your roommate questionnaire answers and write a bio about yourself. And you can hunt for people using those same tools. Lots of folks find somebody that they think is going to make a great roommate, and they create a group there. Some folks look and they don't really find anybody, and then what they can do is find a roommate while they're searching for a room in room selection, because you pick your own room, and if someone's in a room, you can see their bio and you can see their roommate questionnaire answers, and you can also chat, do an online chat. So we try to make it as easy as we can for you to see who it is you might be living with. You may also know somebody you already want to roommate with, and that's great. And then finally, some folks it's just too hard to pick somebody, so they let us assign them and their roommate, and we do a great job with that, and we're happy to do that. And yeah, I think we should go to our next slide and we'll try to get going. Yeah, so dining services is awesome. It's all you care to eat. If you want to go in there every time of day to get coffee or tea or a quick snack, you can do that with a certain kind of a meal plan, or you can go in once or twice a day and have a meal swipe. They have every kind of food you can imagine. They've got vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free. If you've got certain allergies, you can talk with the executive chef and our dietitian, and they can help you design a meal plan that will work well for you. The dining commons are open all day long, so you can go in and do this kind of buffet, all you care to eat dining at your leisure and whenever it works for you. Some people get up early and some late, and it's open all the time. And then you also get dining dollars with your meal plan, and those can be used to go into the dining commons, but they can also be used at all the eateries on campus. And our next slide shows sort of a map of how they're spread around campus. And hey, if you want a Subway sandwich or you want to get a bagel somewhere, you can use those dining dollars and do it that way. So it's good to have dining all around campus. A real quick discussion about room and board pricing. Current rates are located on our financial information page, and they're also on our housing agreement. But we did think it was important to talk about, we look at projects, we look at renovations we need to do, we look at cost of living increases, student staff wages, and then we also make sure we keep a large portion of our rooms at our lowest possible rate each year, as we're working hard to get our rates set. And then the Board of Trustees approves rates in early June. So we make sure that all of our cancel deadlines and transfer deadlines are after that. So you've got plenty of time to have all the tools you need to pick what you want and need. And then very quickly, this is on our website, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but apply for housing by May 1st. And I know there was that tuition question that Chris mentioned. We send a notice of deposit due and we post it on our portal for you on your dashboard. And we'll also send you an email to remind you, hey, and then we'll send you another if you don't see it. So you want to try to get your deposit paid between late May and June 15th, and then everything else just follows like clockwork. So get your housing application done by May 1st, and then pay your deposit and choose your roommate if you want one by June 15th. And we have an awesome info desk who would be happy to talk with you either on phone or by email. They've all lived on, and they know exactly the things students need to know. So do feel free to call if you have questions. Thanks.
That's it, just like that. Oh my gosh, I don't have my virtual background on. Everybody's seeing my bedroom. Welcome to Zoom. Hey, Nate, kill some time while I...
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you all so much. I think we're just going to come back here and wrap it up. I'll talk about what I got. My last background here is right. What we do in the summertime is we have these things called I believe it's downtown sounds, and that's when they block off the streets, and then there's a lot of dancing and food, and so I'm just longing for that day when we can all do this again outside in the sun and just enjoy each other's company. So Bellingham's pretty special with that. So right on. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Mr. Roselli, does that sound good?
That sounds great to me, man. This is great.
Great. Yeah, so I'll do my little remarks here. Like I said, so happy that you guys could join us. We had records amounts of students sign up and join and participate in today. Truly, it was a special thing. I wish we could be in person. Obviously, we usually do a big thing in person, but in the upcoming years, hopefully we'll be able to do that. But virtually was super awesome as well. I think we're all super lucky that we have this option as well to communicate with you all virtually. So it's been a great day. If you're in Bellingham, it's beautiful out. So feel free to go out and get some sun after we're done here. Yeah, and I hope you guys learned a lot. There was a lot of information. Also a reminder, you can go back and view a lot of these sessions, and also you can watch us talk again on our live feed on YouTube. So if you just want to hear Chris and I's voice, feel free to do that also. And yeah, like I said, this was a great day, and we're just super awesome and excited that you guys are excited to come to Western as well. And like I said, that you can also confirm on that website. There is a link where you can click on it. And we would love to have you part of the Viking family. Chris?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what you just said. Remember, of course, students, we have chosen you by admitting you. We want you to come to Western out of 12,000 applications and 4,000 spaces. We want you. So we hope you choose Western, but no matter where you find yourselves as you pursue your post-secondary education, make the most of it. At Western, we say make waves. So we hope you do that, especially if you choose Western. So thanks so much. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, we do have an after party that will take place at 3:30. Make sure that you can watch Western students compete in a game of Quiplash, which is super fun. Make sure that you check out Western videos. You can take pics in the photo booth. Drop into the Dormcraft server. That's something that you can check out as well. So just because we're done talking doesn't mean that you need to necessarily take off. Make sure you stick around and have a good time with that website.
Great.
Anything else, Mr. Gaines?
I think that is everything. It's just kind of sad. I was looking forward to today, and then it came and gone. And yeah, like I said, it's been so much fun interacting. This chat has been one of the greatest parts of today. I mean, it's just reading people's comments. Everyone's super excited. My favorite comment was, "Chris, keep your day job," or something like that. I was like, so yeah, it's been really cool.
Oh, Elton John gets me every time. And all of you, you're welcome for having that song stuck in your head now for the rest of the day. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for jumping on board. Thank you for applying to Western. If you see Nate and I on campus, please make sure you stop and say hi. We would love an opportunity to get to know you.
Absolutely. Well, from all of us here at Western, thank you so much. Go Vikings, and we will see you all in the fall or whenever we can get back to campus. So,
all right. Take care, everyone.